What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kitchen Court Cases, where we watch court in my kitchen. We are jumping right in to what we're gonna do. We're on the fly here quickly because this is live and I have the first two hearings. We're gonna watch it on 1.5 speed. Hope we can catch up. Let's do it, okay? Any questions, put them in the chat. I will be right here, but let's just get it going.
Rushing of your case, but as consideration to everyone involved, we'll see what we can do. Mr. Hawkins, I just want to first understand, how many witnesses do you have beyond your son?
My daughter is a credible witness because she's in a police statement, making a statement. However, she is in the presence of her mother and Mr. Sandermanny right now, and she's verbally expressing me that she doesn't want to testify due to her mother's manipulation, and she doesn't want tension between her mother.
I don't want to hear about all of that manipulation because all that is hearsay. I don't know about that. So who do you have for a fact that you want to testify?
My son, the victim.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Sanderman?
His mother.
His
mother.
To testify.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I understand that this is regarding a March 9th, 2023 terroristic threat against, what's your son's name? As I mentioned before, I'll give folks a time to give a brief indication about what's going on here, and then we'll get into some evidence. We've got two witnesses on both sides, and so we should be able to get to this relatively quickly. Please raise your right hand. Mr. Bob Sanderman, can you unmute yourself? You swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of the law?
I do.
All right. So, Mr. Hawkins, you do? Both of you guys?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. You guys put your hands down. All right. So, Mr. Hawkins, I'm going to begin with you, and I'm going to allow you, your son, or you, to give a statement about what occurred regarding this March 9th, 2023 terroristic threat.
Okay, so on said date, March 9th, 2023, I went to check my son out of school. I arrived at about 2:27, which I submitted as evidence in a text message. I asked him, gather your things and what class you're in. So that's about 2:27. That was a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So the reason I was checking him out because my visitation weekend with him was the next week, which was the third week of March. However, I was going to LA between March 13th and the 19th to celebrate my birthday. So I checked him out. He had an hour left of school, and also to bring him his coat because the only coat he had is the one that I purchased him. So I brought him his coat, checked him out to spend some time with him. We went to eat at JR Cricket's up the street from his school. So while we're eating, he received a call from his mother. He didn't answer. So then she started to text him, which I've also presented. I emailed Friday in the evidence. These are screenshots from my son's phone, sent it to me as evidence of his mother texting him, asking him why isn't he in school, things of that nature. So just to skip over the messages for now, when I drop him off at the stop sign where he catches the bus in his neighborhood, when I drove past the house, she had already came outside. So I dropped him off. I went out the other way. I went home, and it's my understanding that he was fussed at, chastised by his mother and Mr. Sandermanny. So I text him, "Are you good?" Let me see. The same day, I text him, "Are you good?" He said, "Let me see what he said." He said, "Dad, can I cuss right now?" He said, "Apparently, Mommy's not taking photos too."
Hold on, Mr. Hawkins, and I apologize. Yes. This is just an initial statement about what's going on. You're going
okay.
So tell me, hold on, so I can focus you.
Okay, so
tell me, just hold on. Let me stop you so I can focus you on what we're talking about. March 9th, 2023 terroristic threats.
Right. So it was brought to my attention that
I have a theory that the buffering is because of the speed that I have it at. So I'm putting it fast. We're going to go beaver speed till we get to the live. It's just a few minutes and then hopefully that's good. Okay, guys? Also, if you're new here, welcome. This is Kitchen Court Cases. I'm blocking this screen because there's a child here. I don't approve of using children in court for the most part. And so I don't like to show them if I can. And this is a handy dandy way to do that sort of.
So it was then that Mr. Sanderman ran into my son, knocked you out. Then he proceeds to say the tough guys don't wet the bait. And then if I go to your dad's house and punch him in the face, you'll be crying. So once I received this information on March 24th, I met them out there across the street from their home. We went to the residence. The police officer spoke to my son separate. They spoke to my daughter separately. They spoke to Mr. Sandermanny and his mother. I got a case number. I got the police report in a few days. And, I went on about filing, using my resources to file in, TPOs and his warrant application. Mm-hmm. So that's initially what happened. What led me to file the warrant application.
Okay. All right, Mr. Sanderman, if you can give about 4 minutes of what took place.
So Mr. Hawkins is the antagonist in this situation. He's not a concerned father. The facts of the day in question have been grossly misrepresented, and none of this is a reflection of the dynamic that me and TJ have, or anything that goes on in our house in any capacity. Prior to me even, I just want to give you a little bit of background, because the situation itself has to be made sense so that the date in question and kind of.
That's even too fast for me. Oh God, we gotta slow it down. I'm so sorry. That's so funny.
Of why something on its surface that seems like it's super simple would even get this complicated. I hope that makes sense. So prior to Tiffany and I even meeting, at one point in time, Tyler had temporary custody of the children. They had it in writing. They had it notarized. Tiffany and I kind of met it right as he was getting reestablished. Mr. Hawkins became aware of us dating in the following year.
Hey, Your Honor, can I object?
No.
Well, the reason why this is important, at a point in time, he just randomly shows up at our house, and Tiffany was able to get a protective order. At a point in time, he just randomly shows up at our house, and Tiffany was able to get a protective order initially put in place. After Tiffany got the first protective order put in place, he just kind of stopped letting her see the kids altogether. It was so extreme that a judge had to kind of step in and order the kids returned home. When the first TPO was getting ready to expire, he shows up to TJ's school demanding that the school give him Tiffany's contact. When the school refused to give him the information, he was so irate and acted so belligerent that the protective order got extended. So the reason why I'm telling you this information, the reason why this backstory is so important is because once those two things happen, Mr. Hawkins would start to consistently tell the children that they didn't have to listen to us, they didn't have to respect us. In fact, he saw listening to us or respecting to us as disrespectful to him. He often would tell them, you have to choose sides. If you do not choose sides, you are against me. So this is the information that TJ is being fed, that in essence, I am an enemy, and that any semblance of a bond with me is going to be conflict to him or disrespect to him. So he's feeding a young boy this type of information. The next thing that it created was an array of baseless and frivolous court cases. So it's not just me. For the past 3 years, he's accused Tiffany of neglect. He's accused Tiffany of abuse. DFAX has consistently come to our house. In fact, DFAX came to our house and asked TJ separately about this situation. They dismissed the case just today because when they spoke with TJ, when TJ was not with his father, TJ admitted to them that he wasn't afraid and that he was just mad. So this has always kind of been his MO throughout the duration of this. What is really going on is that we are in a house that he doesn't have say over, he doesn't have control in, and he wants us to go through him for approval. So what he's aware is that if he can get custody of TJ, it would force Tiffany to have to go through him, and he can kind of be in charge of the entirety of the situation. So the day in question becomes really important for these key factors. As he stated, it wasn't his weekend to check TJ out, so he shouldn't have got him. And the reason why that was even a big deal is because he has precedence of not returning the children. So with him not returning the children and Tiffany receiving an alert that he had checked him out, she was obviously frantic because at one point in time, she didn't see or speak to her children for months and had to get the court to intervene to even the children back. So she gets a message stating that he has checked TJ out on his non-scheduled weekend. The second thing that he said was really important was that he was going out of town on his scheduled weekend. They were told to follow the order. Because of their conflict and the fact that they do not get along, a judge specifically told them to follow an order. So he's already taken it upon himself to just decide, I'm going out of town. You guys are going to have to get TJ. If that makes sense.
I got it. I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to make sure that it was opening here. So now, Mr.
Understand, sir. So the day in question. So that's kind of why the day in question, she's calling him and sending him a text.
I got it. All right. So we'll move forward here because we're at 9:27. So
the day, I'm sorry. Do you want me to tell you about what happened on the day? I'm sorry.
No, we're not there. You have your witness, or do you want to introduce any evidence you have?
Yes, the evidence that I submitted Friday, and
What's
I added,
specifically?
the text message from my son stating that the communication between his mom, stating that the police be called once I drop him off. When I'm only dropping him off at the stop sign, there's no intentions on me coming to his house. Now, I also submitted.
Well, hold on. Is this evidence regarding the event that happened on the 23rd, as far as this allegation of terroristic threats?
Well, the situation happened March 9th. The police was called on the 24th.
Right.
So the messages are from March 9th. Some of the messages that I submitted, but the police was called on the 24th of March.
Okay, hold tight. And you've got a lot of text messages here. What specific ones are you referring to? Let's see.
Okay, the one started March 9th. I told him the goddamn things that I was there. So again, his mother texted me March 9th at 3:39.
I see some from May.
Right.
Yeah, so hold on. We're trying to get to March. Hold tight. It's May 5th. This doesn't have a date at all. Okay.
There's one that says it has my son's picture and it has his name, TJ. It has Thursday, March 9th at 14:27, which is 2:27 p.m. I'm in the blue, he's in the gray. And it just goes from there.
7 p.m. It doesn't. Hold on. I've got one where something's blacked out.
Correct.
Yeah, it doesn't have a date on it though.
No, that's if you keep it with the same date, March 9th.
So,
I'm trying to allow you to follow these messages to get you to the message where my son said that he threatened me.
okay, where's that message? Where's that message?
Okay, if you keep scrolling, again, it says, it's right after the, how are you getting home? Yes, ma'am, I understand. Dad would drop me off. She says the police will be called. Then he's saying at the bus stop. So I asked him.
Hold on. Is this what you're referring to?
Let me see. That's part of it, but you got to keep scrolling over to get to the part where my son is where he's saying that Bobby threatened me. Now in here, there's nothing where my son is.
You got to help me out here. I'm trying to help you, but you're not.
Can I share my screen? Or
no, that wouldn't be good. No.
Okay. I'm doing the best I can. Mom is taking photos too, and she keeps saying that I'm participating in this. Then this is when he said, I'll go over to your dad's house and punch him in the face. Then what? I'm going to start crying. So this is not me coaching. I don't coach my son to do anything. So this is just, I asked him good because I knew what happened. So this is what he's telling me. Now, I didn't even find out about him running in my son's face on this particular day. Again, my daughter informed me, and then I asked my son about it. And then he corroborated that, yes, he ran in my face, called me a nigga, said, you don't want to get in the grass with me, I'll knock you out. What's with this tough shit? Tough guys don't wet the bed.
Well, hold on, wait, you're testifying hard, bro, and you can allow.
Okay, but look, I don't
hold on.
No, I don't want to say anything else.
No,
my
wait,
son is here,
listen.
so he can testify.
Why are you talking over me? I'm not even trying to be like that. I'm not trying to be difficult, but just hear me out. I wanted to ask you why you crossed out this information at the bottom. That's all.
Okay, that is something that my son said, and I do not want to incriminate my son. See, you allow me to say.
No, listen, stop, Mr. Hawkins. Come on now. You're gonna tell me what I'm doing, and I'm the one who's supposed to be making a determination. Don't do that. So when you scratch things out, what that means is you're not giving the court full view of the evidence. That's all. That's what I was interested in. I'm not interested in to stop you from getting information from your son, but there's an appropriate time for that. We're looking at this evidence. I'm sorry that the court has had to put everything together, find out from Mr. Junior, because
I know what he says.
Well, he's here, so he can testify to it.
And that's what I was saying, Your Honor. Like, it just seems like everything that I'm saying, you kind of, against it, but it is hearsay. So
I'm not even issued about the hearsay. I just was frustrated because you had evidence that said dates that are not there, and I'm trying to find your dates. That's difficult because we're up against time, and things aren't necessarily in order for the court to be able to immediately produce. It has nothing to do with you personally. So what I would like to do now, is there any outside of those text messages, right? Is there any? I want to see if you want to go ahead and have your son testify and ask him some questions.
I do, but is it possible, due to my daughter being in this police statement, to have her testimony?
I'm sorry?
My daughter is in this police report. She gave a statement, and she's there now at the home.
Well, unless she's been subpoenaed. How old is your daughter?
She's 19.
Yeah, unless she's been subpoenaed, I can't force her to testify.
All right, understood.
All right. And so, Mr. Hawkins Jr., would you like to ask him some questions? Mr. Hawkins, would you like to ask your son some questions?
Sure. So, now, son, you heard Mr. Sandemani say that DFAS dismissed the case, that you said, that you're not afraid, you're just mad. On March 9th, did he or did he not come in your face, call you a nigga, said you don't want to get in the grass with me, and said he would knock you out, and then said, what's up with this tough shit, and then proceed to say that tough guys don't wet the bed? Did he or did he not say this to you?
He did.
Can you speak up?
He did.
Okay. Did he say anything about me?
He said that if he was to go to your house and punch you in the face, then I would be crying.
Okay, now you saw that in the message, Your Honor. So, what led him to run into your face like that and say those things? What caused him to do that?
Because I bugged at him and I said what?
Why did you bug at him?
Because I was aggravated that he wanted me to take off my coat.
Okay, now, were you afraid when he ran in your face and threatened you like that?
I was.
So, he said that you weren't afraid, and he said that you were just mad. That's what you told DFAS. That's what you just told DFAS you were mad?
I said I wasn't scared. I didn't say anything about I was being mad.
So you told DFAS you weren't scared?
I wasn't scared.
Okay, but you just said that you was afraid. Which one? So, are you not scared overall, or were you scared at that moment when he ran in your face?
I was scared at that moment.
So, are you scared of him, or are you not?
Can you answer the question, young man?
Has he ever put his hand
No,
on you?
wait. Mr. Hawkins Jr., are you afraid of Mr. Sandemani or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Has he ever put his hands on you before?
No, but he has put his elbow on me before.
That's a form of his body. Can you describe what happened?
There was one morning where he put his elbow on me and he told me that you have to take a morning when you see somebody.
Where did he put his elbow on your body?
He put it on my chest.
Okay. Now, when he came to your face, threatened you, called you names, cursed you, said you don't want to get in the grass with him, was your sister present?
Yes.
Okay. Was your mother present?
Yes.
Did your mother say anything to your defense?
No.
Okay. Right now, I have no further questions to ask, Your Honor, at this time.
No worries. Mr. Sandemani, do you have any cross-examination questions for Hawkins Jr.?
It's a 14-year-old kid. I do not want to cross-examine. I hate that he's in the middle of all of this, so no, I do not.
Any other witnesses that you have, Mr. Hawkins? No?
No, sir, I don't.
Any other evidence?
I do have a video that is from November when she got served for a petition of modification of custody. However, it is a true testimony to Mr. Sandemani's true character, because if you allow me to question him and ask him about his character towards my son, I'm pretty sure he's going to deny it. But this video will prove that if he does lie, this video will prove his true character testimony the way he is speaking to my son. Because in this police report, he says that he just said, you tripping, you can't do this in my house. However, in this 1 hour and 30-minute audio that my son recorded, when she got served for a petition of modification of custody, he is dogging me. He's cussing my son. He's calling him an effing brat. He's calling me a nigga. All kind of crazy.
I got you, Mr. Hawkins. So is there any other evidence that you intended outside of something that's not directly related to this thing?
It's related to his character, but no, Your Honor, no.
This
It's definitely related to his character.
Gotcha. Mr. Sadman, do you have any, since he's finished, do you have any cross-examination for Mr. Hawkins?
I don't speak to him, no.
Okay. Do you have any witnesses that you intended to, or evidence that you want to introduce?
Other than what I've submitted to you, no.
What specifically would you want the court to look at that you submitted?
Well, if you're speaking to him about the idea that character not being part of it, I wanted to submit the video that he has sent me over the years threatening me.
Listen, folks, guess what? Those issues, though they may be considered as a basis, are not my primary concern. You understand, when people call me, they're police officers. Sometimes they tell me about history, but they tell me about the event that's of issue at that time. I don't need to hear about what happened 2-3 years ago, because this is.
That's exactly what it was.
I understand. And so the same thing with you offering evidence from November. So I just want to see if Mr. Sadman has any other evidence beyond that, beyond the people that he wants to introduce.
No, not to submit to you. No.
Well, then let's go ahead and bring your witness out. Clerk, if we can bring his witness in back on his, I think Miss Williams, Michael. Forgive me if I've got her last name wrong. There we go, Williams Malcolm. Miss Malcolm, can you unmute yourself as well as turn on your camera?
I can't start my video. It says the host is disabled.
Well, if you can't turn on your camera, I can't have you testify.
I agree.
Okay. Clerk, is it not?
She's in the house with me, like with the last case. Can she come downstairs?
Yeah, if she's there, sure. She can come around to your computer to testify.
Okay, give me 1 second to come downstairs.
Sure then.
Your Honor, while she's doing that, man, say something.
Let's just wait for her to come, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'm going to get you under oath, Miss Williams.
Right here.
Swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and a penalty and perjury of the law.
I do.
All right, Mr. Sadman, you have any questions for this witness?
Yeah. One of the things that, well, I guess for me, it's more importantly, we haven't really had the opportunity to kind of speak on what happened that day. Are we going to, or do you want me to just kind of?
That's all the thing is that you guys can give a statement usually at the beginning as well as at the end. Obviously, if I just let y'all talk for a long time.
No, sir. I meant just to speak about our version of what happened that day, not to just.
You can ask for questions about that, sure.
So one of the things that's being presented that I feel like is really important is context. He's presenting the situation as if it was.
Well, hold on, just ask for a question. You don't need to necessarily.
Should Tyler have been picking TJ up on the day that he picked him up?
No. So we have a court order, original court order through Judge Mark Anthony Scott from September 12th of 2019. Mr. Hawkins had visitation 1st, 3rd, and 5th weekends beginning on Friday, picking Tyler up from school and then dropping him off to school on the following Mondays. March 9th was a second week of must be picking him up from school. He was not supposed to have him at all. And he checked him out at 2:27, going off because he's not supposed to be with his dad. We have a checkered past. I've had 2 temporary protective orders against dad, 1 year, and in 3 years, we're just a year removed from the 3 year. And because he checked him out, I called the police. Like him being anywhere near me, I don't want to talk. You're picking him up on a day that you were not supposed to have him. So all of it just was a big mess. I'm upset. I'm talking to TJ, telling him that all of this was unnecessary. He has you the following weekend, which that's another point that I'm going to make in a moment. There's no reason for him to check you out. TJ is 14 now. He's becoming a young man. He's been very demonstrative, very disrespectful. And I think he's had a battery put in his back from his dad because he doesn't like the fact that I've moved on and I don't want any contact with him. As far as the following weekend, the 17th through the 19th of March, dad passed on visitation to go out of town for his birthday. So if he felt like there was a situation where his son was in danger, March 9th would have been the day that he would have brought the police to my house. He did not do that.
Well, he is stating he didn't know anything about it.
Is that a question? Is that I just want to make sure.
No, she's. I want to make it consistent with what we've discussed. So she's making a statement. So I want to make it consistent with what we've already discussed, so that you aren't, being told something different. The next thing that I want to ask you that I think is very relevant to this situation: does Mr. Hawkins have a history of filing baseless claims consistently with DFACS or the police, attempting to suggest that this environment is either inefficient or volatile?
Yes, he does. We have a current custody case going 7th. I also have an open DFACS case. Well, it's closed as of today at 2:30 p.m. They called me originally on March 29th. DFACS showed up to my house at March 31st. These are after he spoke with TJ at school, the DFACS caseworker. So I feel like all of this is trying to add credence to his case, his current custody case. The police were also called to the house pertaining to this incident on March 24th. Again, 2 weeks after the incident occurred.
Would you, the incident in question he's suggesting he didn't know anything about, would you agree that the situation started? TJ is saying that he was upset that I suggested he was recording it. The first question I want to ask is it true that you were the person initially asking him to unzip his jacket? Is
That's
that
true. That's true.
Secondly, Mr. Hawkins has now conceded in court that he has TJ tape conversations. Do you believe that it gives credence to why we were asking him to open his jacket? Because Mr. Hawkins does nefarious things like say, tape this, and so forth.
That is correct.
Mr. Hawkins has presented a phone conversation. He has purposely marked out some of the conversation.
Okay.
Sending text messages. Would you agree that Mr. Hawkins was on the phone with TJ when this whole thing started, and then on the phone with Taylor when this whole thing started?
That is correct.
Is it of your belief or a possibility that why he is marking things out or why he sends text messages is because he has been telling TJ, hey, don't put anything in text?
Correct.
I will coach you on what to say.
And let me just say, just so you know, you are asking some direct cross-examination questions, and I want to give you a little bit more time because we're almost at 10 o'clock.
Understood.
More than an hour here beyond what we normally do, but obviously want to give you guys full.
I understand.
We can get to the summation because obviously Mr. Hawkins is going to have an opportunity to cross-examine.
You said for me to sum it up?
Yeah, if you have any other questions for me.
The day in question, TJ is suggesting two very unique things. He's suggesting that I came from across the room and got in his face.
That is not true.
TJ is also suggesting that I got in his face for no reason, that it was after he bucked, but that the buck itself just came from me being upset that you were upset. Is that true?
That is not true. I was the person that was upset the most that particular night. I was the one that was talking to TJ at that time. TJ, I told him, I think a total of 3 times. It was 2 or 3 times to unzip his jacket because he had a coat on in the house. Temperature does not require a jacket. After he just was on the phone with his dad, telling his sister, oh, dad wants to talk to you. So in my mind, he's recording the phone conversation or letting his dad hear the conversation. So I told him to come downstairs, unzip his jacket. He ignored me. He ignored me. He ignored me. So this is when Mr. Sandamani stepped in and was like, just open your jacket, dog. He unzips the jacket, does this, you happy now, and bucking. I think I don't know if they explained the floor plan of our house, but it's basically an open floor plan. I was sitting on the couch in the living room. Mr. Sandamani was sitting on a chair in the living room. TJ was standing near the kitchen, halfway across the house. So Mr. Sandamani never even walked past me on the couch towards TJ. So he was never in his face, and he didn't make a open threat to him as if he wanted to fight a kid. And I think that is the reason why Mr. Hawkins is filing this case, trying to, again, come up and build up his case for the custody battle. That's all it is.
All right. So, Mr. Hawkins, I'm going to let you cross-examine Ms. Williams Malcolm regarding this matter. I know you guys have had a previous relationship, and so I'm going to ask that you guys try to, or otherwise I would try to put my hand in to make it cordial, okay, and be focused on what we're here about. So,
understood. Okay, Ms. Williams Malcolm, you said that I filed 2 defects cases, correct?
2 defects cases within the last year.
1 within the last year. 1 was in 2020 when I was living in Kennesaw.
Mr. Hawkins, we don't need you to testify. She's going to testify. You just asking the questions.
Okay, but that is incorrect. So the other one was in 2020.
Again, you're doing what I'm asking you not to do. Just ask the questions. If it's not true, then it's not true.
What is the reason that I filed the first defects case? What was the basis?
My son got a spanking for being disrespectful.
With what? What did you whip him with?
The USB cord from the PlayStation that I was taking at the time when he was popping off at the mouth.
Okay, so do you not think that is not first? It was HDMI.
Excuse me, what the fuck, lady? You don't beat a child with a USB cord from a fucking PlayStation? Get yourself in check. Get yourself in check. I don't give a shit. No, disgusting. Check yourself.
My cable. Do you not think that is a reason for me not to call defects?
No, I do not.
Okay, understood. Now, the second case, defects case, which was this year, what is the basis of that claim?
At this point, you're saying neglect.
My whole initial reason for calling defects was when my son and daughter, our daughter and son, told me that he ran into his face, and I said what he said. Called him out his name, threatened to knock him out, threatened to come to my house. That's why I called defects, due to the threat of a 45-year-old man threatening a 14-year-old kid. And due to the nature, again, of when you got served.
Defects said, and defects told me it was a neglect case.
So let's move on. What's the next question?
If I'm
No, you're not into testimony right now. This is Mr. Hawkins and Ms. Malcolm.
Okay, Ms. Williams Malcolm, is it true that how long have you been with Mr. Sandamani?
That's not relevant. Let's move on.
No, it is relevant, sir.
It's not relevant to this case. Let's move on.
Okay. I have no further questions.
I just want to be clear. I'm not against you, Mr. Hawkins, but that issue is not relevant to what happened on March 9th. And you guys have had a prior relationship, so asking about her relationship with him is just fire. I'm not going to let you fire it up. So let's ask about March 9th.
Okay, Your Honor, can I say that you allowed Mr. Sandamani to just talk about all kinds of stuff from the past that had no relevance, but as soon as I said something about manipulation, you cut me off.
No, you talked about defects, right?
No, I'm talking about at the beginning of my opening statement when I said.
Oh, because you were giving a longer than 4 minutes, so we were almost at 6 minutes based upon your conversation. I told everybody it was 4 minutes. Listen, I'm not trying to be against you. Ask for some more questions.
Okay, I don't have any questions, but I just want to say this with all due respect, Your Honor.
Yeah.
When I initially, my opening statement, I said my daughter is a witness, but due to her mother's manipulation, you cut me off right there. So I moved on.
Because you're already making allegations that are not necessarily. Let me ask you, her daughter is 19?
Correct.
She's grown. She can testify.
Correct. Okay, I understand that. That is not my debate. But my debate is, or my issue is, you allow Mr. Sandeman to come on with all these allegations that had no relevance toward March 9th. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm saying them when they start dating is now. Do you have another question beyond?
No, I'm done. I'm done.
So hold on, just saying. How is the day when they're dating, and that being your last question, establish anything about the allegation that you have? You understand? So if you're telling me you don't want to ask no more questions after that, then that wasn't a relevant question anyway.
Okay, you just asked me a question. Are you going to allow me to answer or no? Because you just asked me a question.
Sure thing.
Like, I'm respecting your court, but you asked me a question. Do you want me to answer?
Sure thing. Go ahead.
My reasoning was I have not met this man ever, and they have been together in 6 years. And the reason that she is acting this way, this is what it is. This man
is asking me a question.
No, you asked me a question, so I'm answering it. And I'm telling you why I brought that question up. I said I haven't met the man in 6 years, so that's why I was asking her how long has she been with him.
Well, it seems like you already know that answer. So
I've never met him.
Do you have any other question after that?
No, that's it. I don't have any more questions, Your Honor.
So this is what I want everybody to do. Do you have any other testimony, Mr. Satterman?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so this is what I want to do, Mr. Hawkins. I'm going to give you 4 minutes because we're well past 4, but I'll give you 4 minutes. I'll give everybody 4 minutes. You can check the time to tell me why an arrest warrant should be issued against Mr. Satterman for the incident on March 9th, 2023.
I believe an arrest warrant should be granted because Mr. Sandman attempted to commit a violent injury to my son and committed an act which places my son in reasonable apprehension of immediately receiving a violent injury by the direct threat of simple assault, which my son and daughter corroborated in the police report 23-025748. Due to the fact that my son and daughter had both corroborated my statement in the police report, also the respondent's girlfriend is going to defend him based on who he is and the fact that she doesn't want to lose him. My son's mother has been trying to sway my son's decision to testify by asking him how he would feel if Bobby is arrested, which I presented in evidence, and how would they pay the bills if Bobby gets arrested. Also, my 19-year-old daughter was there. I don't even want to mention that she's grown, but she witnessed this, and her statement is in this police report corroborating what my initial reason for calling the police and corroborating her little brother's statement. If this warrant is not granted, this will empower Mr. Sandman to continue to bully and threaten my son and will make my son's testimony along with his sister's statement void, showing the youth that their testimony is inferior to adults. And who can my son come to? And he's a child. All I'm trying to do is advocate for my son. This is nothing more and nothing less. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Mr. Sandman.
Points of validity. In order for you to believe what he's suggesting, he's having you to believe that a mother cares so little for her son that I could physically threaten harm to her son, and she wouldn't care anything about that. His daughter chose not to testify because she felt like she was already being prompted to say something. I respected her decision to not get involved, as I respected TJ's decision to not get involved, as I've always respected everybody's decision to not get involved. This is just a long series of harassment. I know we seem like we're as flustered as him, but the reason why we're flustered is because we have consistently simply wanted one thing: to be left alone. And each time a court case like this happens, it just empowers Mr. Hawkins to have a new vehicle. TJ is a great kid. When DFACS had the opportunity to speak with TJ when he was isolated from everyone, we didn't even know DFACS had been called. He had the opportunity to be completely transparent and like, hey, I'm afraid of this guy. The situation that happened was really terrible. TJ told them the truth in that particular moment. In fact, since that moment, TJ has done almost a complete 180. We've been to Stars and Strikes. We've gone to dinner, all these different things. TJ feels like TJ again. That's the irony of this entire situation. I hold no ill feelings towards TJ. I love TJ and I love Taylor dutifully. I'm responsible for them. I assist in their caretaking and their upbringing. I would never hold any animosity to him. The idea that I hold any animosity to him and some type of vengeance for him is absolutely ridiculous. Most importantly, I believe Mr. Hawkins has told you what this is really about. It's his belief that he's entitled to some aspect of approval that he's never going to get because I do not respect him. So I can establish that I do not respect him, but I do not respect him because within the first couple of weeks of me dating Tiffany, he physically assaulted her. So for me, the idea of the common courtesy of two men exchanging, of course I understand the importance of a man being around another man's child and you wanting that man to feel comfortable about you being about that child. But Your Honor, you have to have a certain level of respect and gravitas towards that man to extend that man a courtesy. Within 6 years, he's done nothing but terrorize Tiffany. Why would I still care within the threats of something, the things that I've seen firsthand, to still extend him the courtesy of, hey man, I want to let you know that I'm a cool guy? That makes no sense. And it speaks to the kind of detached from reality position that he consistently exists in. He's letting you know without letting you know that he wants the court to enforce his ideology. We simply wanted to be left alone. The situation in hand was blown into something it did not have to be. TJ that night himself apologized. That is the 100% truth. I admired him for doing so. We spoke about it for ever since he did it. He is a wonderful, intelligent young man who I firmly believe that his mother has him on the right path to do incredible things. I completely believe that I've never met a kid more personable, a kid more intelligent, just a delight to be around. Any and all hindrance TJ has from achieving any goal he possibly can in life is because Mr. Hawkins is his father. That is his only crippling debilitating thing. As long as Tyler is his father, it's a 50-50 crapshoot. Period and point blank. But I'm sure you've seen that he does not strike you as the type of man that if he truly felt his son was threatened, that he would not address it. I did not mean to get off path. Tried to put in perspective a pattern. That's all.
I don't want to. I just don't want to.
Oh no, I understand. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
All right. Well, folks, what I first want to acknowledge is a couple things about this particular statute, and specifically is this part, and it's part B3. It says no person shall be convicted under this subsection on the uncorroborated testimony of the party to whom the threat is communicated. I first want to address that. And now I want to first go into what the court heard. And so what concerns us is obviously any threats made to just any people. Terroristic threats are a major concern to the court. The court, however, cannot ignore, obviously, the relationships between the parties, which tend to make things a little bit more volatile, and that's understandable. Furthermore, it appears that this event that happened outside the presence of Mr. Hawkins Sr., it seems to not have any direct knowledge about it, but for what Mr. Hawkins Jr. has communicated to him. What Mr. Hawkins Jr. has communicated to him is that there was an exchange about a coat, and then there was words that were exchanged, but we don't have any evidence directly that specifically what threat of harm was committed, rolling around in the grass. And what is even more interesting is that we don't have anybody even corroborating that story beyond Mr. Hawkins Jr. But the court really wants to make a focus on this, that we've got obviously a parental and familial issue that has now bled over into the courts. And it happens all the time, right? But the court has to be considerate of all the impact that's going on. And one of the things I do want to state, and this is concerning, is Mr. Hawkins, I do want to state that obviously you can't pick a child up when you're not scared to pick them up. You know that's going to cause issues. You know that. And so I just want to make clear that you know that in and of itself is problematic. But obviously any allegations of threats being made to children are problematic as well. But then Mr. Hawkins Jr. admitted as well that he bucked at it. And so what we have is a young man at 14 years old smelling himself and trying to get himself situated. I don't see a situation where terroristic threats where people are trying to really kill and hurt people. Because guess what? I see them all the time. And that's not what I see here, Mr. Hawkins. I don't see a situation where this is a situation of terroristic threats. Furthermore, I don't have any evidence by anybody that was there to confirm or to corroborate the story of Mr. Jr. What I would hope to do is that you guys can have a better relationship. Obviously, Mr. Hawkins Jr., that necessarily isn't the case because you said you haven't even met this man, but he's been in their life for 6 years. So I can understand and I can hear the frustration with that because this is your son and these are your children. But nonetheless, despite all of the civil issues that are going on, I don't necessarily have sufficient evidence in order to issue an arrest warrant. And so I pray that everybody is able to address it and be able to get this familiar issue addressed. But if not, the court will be here. And if there's actually another crime that for probable cause is actually found, I'm happy to issue an arrest warrant. But I do not find that sufficient facts have been made here this evening. And so it will be dismissed. And I thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys, if we had not watched it at the speed we watched it, we would have missed it. This is over now. Please hold on one moment as we transition to our next hearing. I am happy to see everybody here. We got a quick start today because Larry, I'm allowed to be on screen. Could you, Larry, seriously, could you do me a solid and just maybe get out of my way? Anyways, so just give me one moment here because I have the first two hearings that judge had today. So we're going to see those guys on the screen probably for a little bit. But these ones are recorded so we can watch them at regular speed and hopefully they should work well. I would love to hear what you had for dinner tonight. And if you didn't like what you had for dinner, I'd love to hear what you wish you had for dinner instead. I am having some lovely potatoes with some other sauce. Let's see. Okay, yes. What was I doing? I was getting the other videos that we need. So let me do that while you guys tell me what, thank you, MB, what you guys have got going in the chat for dinner. Oh, this might be why you were lagging. Cool raspberry tea. Insert funny name had Taco Bell. Thank you, Hello Kitty. Hi, Chiquita. Hi, Jody. Hi, Billy Elliott. Hi, Lawrence. Hi, These Hands. Hi, Zeisifer. Toby S. Fried chicken and mash. Yummy. Bluebell. Can you say hello to everybody, please? Bluebell. Bluebell. Come on. Say hello. Hi, I'm Bluebell. I love you guys too. Okay. Let's find the video.
Oftentimes, when I hear evidence, I find
Okay. So, for anybody that's new here, we use the like button or the dislike button to take attendance, and you got to make sure you clock in for your shift. So please do that while you remember. We also have a lot of fun here. If you have any questions, please ask away in the chat. There's lots of creators that pop in and out at different times. We are court nerds through and through. So you're not really going to get like fast forwarding or like editing through the things. We watch the whole thing because that's the way we do in my kitchen, boo. So let us also, if anybody has any Larry Beavers who they've dressed up that they would like to send me, please do so to my email address and I will put them on the screen. We use Larry Beaver for many things. We should put Larry Beaver in a costume for protecting the kids when I use him for that. Okay. Let us go ahead and watch the beginning of the hearings that judge just had. So he is now finished. We just saw the end, but he started a while ago. And the hearings, what I want to explain first is I am a firm believer that we have seen both of these before. We've heard these stories before. We have heard these people before, but for TPO hearings. And it's tripping me out a little bit because I'm like, I've seen some of this evidence before, and that reruns don't usually happen when you watch court live. Just saying. So, but it turns out these are what are called civilian warrant applications. So civilian warrant applications are in the state of Georgia, and the state of Georgia is one of a unique few states who allows a civilian to bring a warrant application to the court on their own without first going through a police or prosecuting office. So that's the case that we just watched there and what we will be watching now. So these are where civilians are coming to the court and saying, this person has done a crime and I want them to be arrested. And in Georgia, you can do that via this application process. It is not a TPO in the sense that it does not have any sort of conditions upon it. However, if there is a resulting arrest, that arrest maybe will have bond conditions attached that would preclude certain behaviors that may have precipitated the arrest. However, these are not the same as TPO hearings, which the intended outcome is to be a protection order that is put in place for a while. Thank you so much, Terry Westlake. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. I love it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. Georgia is terribly open with their courts, and I love it. That's all I will say about Georgia. I love them. Thank you, Georgia. Anyways, guys, let's continue on. I love all of you. Welcome. If you're new here, if you're lurking, that's cool. You can say hi if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. If you're a member, remember we have cool buttons and cool emojis. So throw them up in the chat when you feel they need to be thrown up. I'm already on the lookout for the original hearings of these, but I haven't found them yet. So let's continue on. Thank you again for being in the kitchen, and let's get going, shall we? Okay, here we go. Can you get an oh yeah, MB? Yeah, you can. Hold on, I'll get on screen right in time. Love it. Bluebell gets all excited. We gotta know, yeah. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it so much. Like I've said, I will never get rid of that sound, most likely. I enjoy it too much. Oh, yeah. Okay.
That the respondent, in fact, has committed a crime themselves. Now, let me be clear. My position in looking at this evidence allows me to do a couple of things. But one, allows me to also issue an arrest warrant against the applicant if they're found to be the one that has committed a crime as well. And so I just want to let folks understand that this is not merely an examination or a presentation of evidence purely for the applicant's position, but this is a presentation and review of whether or not a crime has been committed. Okay? So let's just be clear about that as well. All right. I've given everybody an opportunity to email. Again, if you're still looking for something, you'll still have an opportunity to email up until the time that I hear your case. Bear with me. I'm going to call that shortly.
You're damn right about that, Jonathan. The dopamine.
There it goes. All right. When I call your name, I'm going to ask that you unmute yourself, and then you're going to let me know whether or not you have any witnesses or whether or not you have any evidence regarding this matter. Okay. So bear with me on that. First case is going to be PP-055220. The respondent is Terrence Foster. Terrence Foster. I'm looking for a Terrence Foster. All right, no appearance. How about the applicant, which will be Quincy T. Bonds?
Here, present.
Quincy T. Bonds. All right, Mr. Bonds, do you have any witnesses or evidence with you on this first matter?
Yes, everything has been emailed over.
Okay.
Copies of the check, text messages, and correspondence.
Okay, well, we will take a look and we'll see about notice here shortly. Bear with me.
Okay, thank you.
Position 2 is going to be PP-055095. I'm looking for respondent Gerald Matthew Lynn. Gerald Matthew Lynn.
This is Steve Shoemaker. I'm retained counsel for Mr. Lynn. He is also present here right now. I think you can see him in the blue coat on the screen.
Excellent.
We are present.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
All right, I got you down. Position 3 is PP-055221. Respondent is Andre Lloyd. Andre Lloyd.
I'm here, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Lloyd, I've got you down. I'm sorry, I skipped over one. I got you down, Mr. Lloyd. Forgive me. How about Kylie Delaney Barra?
Yes, Your Honor, I am present.
All right. Ms. Barra and Attorney Shoemaker, would you guys be interested in conversing about the matter to see if it can be addressed in any way? Not to try to make any preludes, but I know sometimes folks will agree to certain orders or conditions and won't contest things that may very well address some of their concerns. But Ms. Barra, if you're not interested in speaking with with the respondent's attorney, that is totally up to you. I just wanted to give you that opportunity to see if there could be any possible resolution before having a hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the offer. I would like to decline.
No problem. No problem. I'll get you guys down and then we'll get you guys in queue to be able to present some evidence here.
Thank you, Your Honor. One thing before I mute myself again. As the respondent, of course, we don't have the burden to show any evidence. We have started to send some materials into your office based on your initial guidance. There is a large volume of evidence in this case, which much of it may be relevant tonight. I know the court's not going to want to hear that, but I may not be able to send it all to you because I don't know what exactly I'm going to have to rebut. I hope the court understands that.
I understand. I just hope that it's readily available if you think it's there, because obviously we generally end these matters around 9 o'clock. Folks like to try to go around to 10, 11, and I'm telling you, I'm not going to do it.
I understand, sir. It is readily available. I can either send it in to you, or if the court is inclined to share the screen, I can put it up. And again, I'm not sure what I'm going to need. It depends, but I will be mindful of that.
No worries. We'll get it done.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to mute myself now. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, how about Mark Parrish as the applicant here?
Yes, here.
All right, Mr. Parrish, I got you down. Any interest in speaking with Mr. Lloyd concerning this matter to get it resolved? I always give people that.
I decline. No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. I lost my pen, folks. I apologize. All right. Position 4 is PP-055211. The respondent is Bobby Sadimani. Forgive me.
I'm here, sir.
All right, I got you down. And forgive me, I didn't ask you, and I'll go back around. Do you have any witnesses with you?
I do, sir.
And how many?
Just one.
All right. Did you email any evidence as well?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. How about Tyler Hawkins?
I'm present, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Hawkins, do you have any witnesses or evidence?
Yes, sir. I emailed evidence Friday, and I have my son, who I actually filed the warrant application on his behalf. He's a minor, and I do have one credible witness, which is my daughter.
Yep.
I believe she's there at the home with her mother, but she declined to provide a testimony. However, she is in the police report that was filed.
Okay. All right. And do you guys have any interest in speaking with the respondent to try to see if it can be resolved or not?
No, Your Honor.
All right. No worries. That's very unfortunate.
Night, Monica.
All right, folks. So what I'm first going to do, since no one's needs an opportunity to discuss anything, I first want to address the evidence regarding position 1 as far as service is concerned. So what I want to do is get Mr. Bonds under oath. I'm going to pull up this particular matter. We're going to just address to make sure that we've got appropriate service, and I will hear your case, and then I will hear in this particular order, it'll be your case. We'll pretty much just go in normal order of 1, 2, 3. We'll hear the case where it's ex parte, and then we'll hear the matter with Attorney Shoemaker and Miss Barra, and then Parrish and Lloyd, and then Hawkins and Sadami. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. And then we'll go from there. So again, if you have not emailed the court all of your information, please do so now. And then we'll go from there. All right, bear with me while I pull up the evidence. All right, Mr. Bonds, can you unmute yourself? All right.
Yes, sir.
Can I get you under oath? Get you to raise your right hand.
Yes,
You
sir.
swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and a penalty and perjury of the law?
I do.
All right. And so I'm just looking at this particular application. You do have the date of birth. You've got an address here.
Yeah, they said he was served.
And they said he was, when you say he said he was, who said he was served?
I got something that said that it was delivered. that
Okay,
whatever-
this is certified mail.
Yes.
I'm thankful that you're all here. And if you are new here, please go ahead and hit that like or the dislike button. It's really fine.
And how'd you get the address?
Through a third-party company that looks up information, addresses, birth dates. That's how I got the date of birth, his government name, and the address.
Oh, yes. Permission granted for everybody coming in off the porch. If you are in the kitchen
Now, my only
crew,
concern,
talk in. Thank God Judge Kim's not here with these ceiling fans.
bear with me.
Okay.
312 Bentley.
That's right, folks. I'm just north of Seattle in Canada, and I would love to have a morning show. I've had a
Clerk,
midday show.
my concern is that the police report that they have here, the information has been redacted, and so I can't confirm whether or not the address on the police report matches the one that's also been delivered to the particular respondent, because on the police report where it identifies offender, it gives an address of 303, or a zip code of 30349 Atlanta, but we've got an address in Tucker.
Okay, let me see if I can find the.
I just want to see what the actual address is. And sir, you said you got this address from where?
From this third-party information. I didn't know his address, so or his real government name or his birthday. So I had to hire a company that does research to help me find out, because I couldn't do the police report without at least his date of birth, his government name, and his address. Which
Right. Now, were you aware that there was a police report made?
Yes, I called that police report in. Yes,
and are you aware that there is an address that's produced on here that for this individual?
No, I don't. I'm not sure where they got that address.
I remember what happened here, and
call back.
A note to just reset.
I use Larry.
A particular calendar date that we can identify for Mr. Bonds.
You can see what happened. I use Larry for a while.
In the conversation,
Right.
the character,
Right. And then from there, defense counsel, like as I said before, if there's nothing else as far as any witnesses are concerned, he'll have an opportunity to introduce any witnesses that he has, and he'll direct examine them, and then you'll have an opportunity to cross-examine them yourself. They'll introduce any physical evidence.
So basically what that was some like address service stuff that I had Larry cover for us, but I just skipped ahead because we don't need to watch it. This is the first case. It's starting. We are going with the woman over here, Kylie Barra, against, oh shit, I'm gonna have to move. I'm sorry, bud. I didn't realize I was in your seat. I really didn't. I'm gonna come over here against the gentleman where I just was, Mr. Lin. So, if you would be so kind as to hit that like or dislike button and to buckle your seatbelts, folks, because this is a weird ride. And also, I'm supposed to be making a coffee for myself. That will help me focus. Coffee.
And then we'll get to a conclusion where we'll do closing statements, and that'll effectively be Ms. Barr, why you believe arrest warrant should be issued. And obviously his counsel will be arguing the opposite of that. And then I'll make my decision. My goal is to not allow these hearings to last really more than 30 minutes. Because again, this is not an attempt to get a full resolution on the matter. It's determined whether or not it's probable cause. Okay? So we don't want to spend too much time in treating this like a trial, because it is not a trial. And so we'll go from there. Now that you've understood that, I think we've already got Miss Massey. Counsel, do we have any witnesses on your side?
Well, Your Honor, one second. Yeah, just make sure I was unmuted. My client may testify. I haven't decided yet. We will have a Mr. Rodney Hooks testify because he was on a phone with my client at the very moment these allegations occurred. he will definitely testify. I may have a character witness as to character for peacefulness and truthfulness testify. I will see about that. I understand, Your Honor, that Ms. Barra says she only has one witness in addition to herself. Was that what I understood?
I'm sorry?
Did I understand correctly that Ms. Barra only has one other witness besides herself?
She only has one other witness, correct?
I don't believe that Ms. Massey is present on the screen. I would ask if she's present in the room with Ms. Barra, that she be sequestered.
No, yes, we've already addressed that she should be sequestered now.
I mean, more specifically, Your Honor, I'd ask if Ms. Barra is alone in the room or if there's anyone else in the room with her.
Yeah, okay. Well, Ms. Barr, is the witness there in the same home or apartment with you or room?
No, Your Honor, she's on a different property.
All right. Well, there we go. We got that.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
All right, so folks, what I'm going to do is, Mr. Lynn, I'm going to ask that you unmute. I'm going to at least get you under oath. Obviously, that does not mean that you will testify. And then Ms. Barra, we'll get you to start with your opening here around 6:50. All right, so Mr. Glenn, Ms. Barra, raise your right hand. Swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of the law.
I do.
Excellent. All right, you guys can put your hand down. Mr. Lynn, you can mute. Ms. Barra, the time is essentially 6:50. I'm going to give you till about 6:53, 6:54 to give me understanding about the allegation of a simple battery harm that occurred on 12/29/2022 allegedly by Mr. Lynn, okay?
Okay.
All right.
This happened over the course of several hours, as I had found out that he had been cheating on me with multiple other women. One woman in particular had reached out to him, and that caused me to be curious. And so as I went to go and message her on my own computer, Gerald Lynn had pulled me away from my computer and was physically restraining me from typing a message out to her, just to inquire, hey, who are you? And then as we were discussing things over several hours, and I thought things were calm within the conversation, we had gone to sleep at that point because it had been very, very late. And when I woke up the next morning, Gerald was already awake and hunched over his phone and seemed very frustrated about his work. And that's where I was trying to inquire what was happening there. And he was saying that his work was ruined, that something had gone wrong. He started getting a phone call from Rodney. At that point, he was saying that he had been dealing with a domestic dispute, which did not make sense to me. I said, no, he's lying. He's been cheating on us. We've been talking about it all night. And at that point, Gerald had become very physically frustrated and was like bashing his head with his glasses and with his own hand. And so I was saying, he's becoming violent. Please call the police. From there, Gerald had hung up as he was trying to walk away from me and trying to collect his things. And I was asking him what was going on. He was saying that he wanted to talk things out. And so we continued to talk things out. And as he was leading me from one room and into the next, he turned around and picked me up from the base of my shoulders and threw me 7 feet into a door frame, or my neck wrapped around the door frame itself. And I sustained injuries from that. When I got up from there to go and ask why he threw me, what was going on, he picked me up again and he threw me onto my bed. The conversation continued as he left the house. All the while I started getting on the, I tried calling the other woman throughout this, trying to multiple times, because he had taken my phone from me to hang up when he realized that I was on the phone with her throughout this. He had also made another call to Rodney at a point throughout this as well, but that phone call also was hung up by Gerald in the middle of that when I had asked him to put it on speakerphone. And he was telling me to be quiet and to not say a word while he was on the phone with Rodney, All the while, the second time that he threw me, the first time that he threw me into the door frame, that's where I didn't realize at the time, but my phone had flown out of my pocket while I had Valerie on the phone. And at that point, the phone hung up and got lost somewhere. And so after he had thrown me the second time, I had asked him to help me find my phone. So that way I could at least get on the phone with somebody else for emotional support throughout this while he left. I was able to find my phone on my own.
Okay, so you guys, we've seen these people before, and I know it because they got a TPO. This is a civilian warrant application, remember, for an arrest. You have to keep in mind. So she's not here asking for a domestic violence warrant. She's not asking for anything like that. She's asking for an arrest warrant for this person to be arrested. So again, keep that in mind. When I saw the TPO hearing, it went on for hours. It was hours and hours and hours. We saw pictures of them at festivals, on vacations. She alleged the R word a lot. There was a big brouhaha about it. But what the main thing is that it was all started by his women got in touch with each other. And that gets trouble. Anyways, let's continue on. But it's this gentleman right here and this woman right here that are in this hearing right now. I'll see if I can do something fancy in a moment.
As he was walking out the door, and I called Valerie again, and she heard as he left.
All right. Anything further?
That is the instance of the domestic violence that I'm here about.
Okay. Counsel?
Thank you, Judge. To be brief, on December 29, 2022, Mr. Lynn ran afoul partly of technology. His phone indicated, I think, either a call or a phone call from a woman named Valerie Robin. Ms. Robin had been going out with Mr. Lynn, and Ms. Barra had been going out with Mr. Lynn. And when Ms. Barra discovered it, she insisted on calling Ms. Robin. And I don't think there's going to be any dispute to the fact that the three of them were on a phone for 6 hours that night, discussing who Mr. Lynn had been going out with and for how long. At the end of this marathon-long phone conference, which ended at approximately 6 a.m, no police have been called, and both Ms. Robin, and Ms. Barra wanted Mr. Lynn to spend the night where he was, which is Ms. Barra's apartment at that time. About 3 to 4 hours later, the evidence is going to show that Mr. Rodney Hooks, a business partner of Mr. Lynn's, called him. This is about 9:30, 10 in the morning, because they had some business concerns, some property concerns that they had to get to. Ms. Barra did not want Mr. Lynn to leave, as evidenced by the fact that she made him endure 6 hours of a joint phone call with his other lady friend. She did not want him to leave and was upset when he said, "I have to go to work," and began to try to control the situation. But he said, "Listen, I've got to go." Pleading with him not to leave and not being able to control him, she got into his face and started grabbing him and poking him in the face. And he will admit to using reasonable force to place her on the bed, not throwing her into a door frame or anything of that nature, because she would not get out of the way. And his use of that force was reasonable under the circumstances, as you're going to hear. But most importantly, you're going to hear that Mr. Hooks was on the telephone this whole time. And he's going to testify that Ms. Barra never said anything of the kind, whereas she's told you, call the police. No one ever called the police that night or that day, ever. Even to this time, this moment, no one's ever called the police regarding what happened on December 29th. This is a case of justification, justified use of a reasonable amount of force when Ms. Barra tried to block Mr. Lynn and she got up into his face. And I also think the court's going to be persuaded when it looks at some credibility evidence. Chief among the credibility evidence is that Ms. Barra filed a TPO against Mr. Lynn, where she alleged that over the course of 2 to 3 years, he had raped her on numerous occasions in Hawaii at various festivals, at various addresses. Basically, every address that they ever lived together or he ever lived apart while dating Miss Barra, she's alleged that he sexually assaulted her. Yeah. So I think the credibility evidence here is going to cause the court serious concerns about credibility, and Mr. Lynn and some character witnesses are going to attest to that. We're going to ask you to dismiss this case for lack of probable cause based on reasonable use of justifiable use of force, commensurate with what he faced, and a lack of credibility. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so Ms. Barra, what we're going to do is we're going to ask that you either, one, have the court go to any particular evidence that you want to introduce, or we can go now to your witness and get her in and we can get some testimony from her.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So which would you like to do first?
May we pull in the witness first?
Sure. Clerk, we can pull in that witness. And that was a Miss Massey, is that correct? Heather Massey.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, I'm going to get you under oath, ma'am, and then what we're going to do is have Ms. Barra ask you some questions, and then you'll have some follow-up questions by Attorney Shoemaker, and we'll try to get you out of here as quickly as possible. Thank you for being here. All right, let me get you under oath. Let me get you raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of the law?
I do.
Excellent. Put your hand down. Ms. Barra, this is your witness. Remember, direct examination questions.
Thank you. And I apologize for how informal this is. Heather, would it be possible for you to describe the location in which these allegations were made, where I was living at the time when this occurred, the layout of the space?
You're talking about where the incident happened. Describe the layout.
Yes, please.
Okay, so they were at the place that you were living on the upstairs floor, and it makes kind of a circle between your bedroom, the bathroom that connects to the office, and then the outer hallway. So it makes kind of a loop to where the events took place.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry. Were you there with me when we filed the police report?
Yes, I was. I was present along with Valerie Robin, and I think also your landlord. His name slips my mind at the moment. Brendan, but I forget his last name. All of us were there present and spoke to the police officer. That's correct.
Thank you. And then, did I seek, do you recall me seeking medical attention for the injuries sustained?
Yes, you told me that you did.
Now, I'm going to interpose an objection at this time. I know that hearsay is admissible in these proceedings under the law, but if Ms. Massey is going to attest to just what Ms. Barra told her, although it's, I mean, on one hand, it could be hearsay. On the other hand, it's bolstering. Ms. Barra can just testify.
That is true.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You're no lawyer, but because you're here to be able to testify about that fact, it's really not necessary for something that you could testify to be the truth of the matter because you went, right? You don't need, and Miss Massey, now it should be different if she went with you, right? But if she didn't go with you, then you're able to obviously provide testimony regarding you going to the hospital. Okay.
I apologize.
No, you're fine. Continue.
I'm a little scared about this. I'm not sure.
It's all right. It's a somewhat of a legal proceedings. which it is, but it isn't, but it is. So it's okay. It's all right. It's magistrate court. We'll work with you. Continue.
I'm not sure what to ask in this. I'm sorry. I
Take a moment to breathe. And counsel, I just want to be clear. I'm not helping her. I just want to make sure that she understands because I want this case to be able to move. And if you're
That's
stuck,
fine, Your Honor. I understand.
So Ms. Barra, breathe, realize that in many ways, this is your show. This is your case. You are trying to ultimately prove to the court that Mr. Lynn should be arrested for this allegation. That's what we're here about. Now, if you want to ask for questions that are not relevant to that, then I'm going to tell you to move along. But that's the questions that very well will be relevant to this hearing today.
okay.
So,
Then I'm not sure what to further ask, Your Honor. So I think we'll close that out there. Thank you.
okay, well, Ms. Massey, if she doesn't have any questions, I'm going to allow counsel to see if he has any questions for you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do. Ms. Massey, correct me if I'm wrong, but you haven't known Ms. Barra for a very long time.
That is correct.
In fact, you did not know her on December 29th of 2022, did you?
Personally, no, but I did know of her.
Okay. So you didn't really get to know her until after these allegations.
That is correct.
You used to date Mr. Lynn, didn't you?
That is correct.
After this incident, or these allegations, Ms. Barra and another lady went out of their way to locate you, didn't they?
That is incorrect.
They didn't go out of their way to locate you?
No.
Your phone number is not 770-680-1752.
Wait, repeat that number again?
770.
Blah 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 blah.
No, that's not my number.
That's Ms. Barra's phone number.
Okay.
Did you know that or not?
I don't know her number off the top of my head.
And
I have it into my phone.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said I have her phone number saved into my phone.
Okay. And you know what? I got this backwards. I was going to ask, what is your phone number?
What is my phone?
No, don't do that either.
Yes, Your Honor.
Live stream hearing, and normally we'd have a
Fair enough. I
Just
understand.
do me a favor. If you want to know it, Ms. Massey put in the chat box to counsel.
No, Your Honor, I don't need to do that. I can move on.
Okay.
You're right. Sometimes you got to remember you're on public access.
And that's why we don't allow recording, because people are crazy.
Ms. Massey, you would agree that you were not in regular phone or text contact with Ms. Barra prior to the very end of December of last year. You would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Not regular contact. I did reach out to her once via Facebook Messenger just to try and talk with her. That is it.
Okay. But you would agree with me that on December 31st of last year, she texted you 4 times and sent you 1 picture on that date.
I don't recall her sending me any pictures, but at that point, by December 31st, we had texted a bit back and forth as well as talked as well on the phone.
Well, then let me back up a little bit. You got to know her because she reached out to you as a former girlfriend of Gerald Lynn. Yeah.
She finally responded to the message that I sent back in early December to her.
Okay. She finally, so in early December of last year, you sent her a message as a former girlfriend of Gerald's, and she finally responded to it.
That is correct. All I asked was something to the effect of, I think we know someone in common mutually, and I would just like to talk to you and get to know you. Something simplistic and benign as that.
Just wanted to get to know your former boyfriend's current girlfriend.
I did not know they were together at the time. I just knew that this is one of his previous ex-girlfriends.
And how did you learn of Ms. Barra's existence? From whom did you learn it?
I learned it from Gerald.
Okay. Now going back to January, do you recall having a 5-minute conversation with Ms. Barra on the 11th of January?
It's quite possible, but I'm not keeping track of all the records of every time we have interacted.
Sure, that's a relatively short amount of time. So would you recall having a 6-minute conversation with her on January 6th?
Probably. I don't remember the specifics of it. We were quite in contact a good bit since the beginning of the year.
Okay. Then, would January 13th, would you recall from her number to yours on a call log a 106-minute long telephone conference with her on January 13th?
Was there?
Well, I can refresh your memory if you'd like to see a call log. But let me come off that question real quick. Mr. Lynn was paying your cell phone bill during this time frame, wasn't he?
This is correct.
So he had access to your phone records because it was part of his overall bill. It was sent to him, right?
This is correct.
So when I say that on January 13th, you had a 106-minute long phone call with Miss Barra at the number I said earlier, you're not denying that now, are you?
I wasn't denying any of it to begin with.
He pays their cell phone bills, and so he was able to get the records. Oh, that's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Wow. Judge Davis looks bored already. Bluebell, I know. I'm gonna let you out. I'm listening. I'm gonna let the dog out. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Mayor. Um, let's continue. Everybody is in. By the way, this buckle up because this is gonna get juicy and a little gross quick.
Were you frequently conferenced in by Miss Valerie Robin, another ex-girlfriend of his, on phone calls? Were you conferenced in?
Conferenced in on phone calls?
Phone calls with Miss Robin and Miss Barra.
And counsel,
I've talked about, but I don't see what this has relevance to do with what he did back at the end of December to Kylie.
so counsel, what I would like to say obviously is we have limited time, so I want to keep our focus of the testimony obviously on the event.
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Massey, you weren't present on the 29th at Miss Barra's home, were you?
That is correct. I was not present there.
You weren't present on the phone that day when both Miss Barra and Mr. Lynn were in her dwelling, were you?
That is correct. I was not.
So anything that you might know about what happened that day would have had to have come from Miss Barra's mouth to your ears. Is that right?
Yes, as well as what Valerie had told me because she was a witness to the events that happened on those dates.
Okay. But you're aware that Miss Robin was not present there either.
Yes, I am aware.
Okay. You in fact helped Miss Barra file a TPO, isn't that true?
This is correct.
Is that why you were on the phone with her in January for such extended amounts of time?
It wasn't because of any one particular thing. We all became friends.
Oh, all of you were friends with each other.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions for you.
Any redirect by Ms. Barra based upon any of the questions that counsel has asked Ms. Massey?
I apologize. I'm sorry. What was that?
So we call it redirect. It's just your opportunity to be able to ask your witness any questions or follow-up questions regarding the testimony that, or regarding the question in the subsequent testimony that Ms. Massey provided from the cross-examination. You want to ask her some more questions? That's a very layman's way of putting it in there.
If I may ask, what was your experience? Apologize. Heather, have you witnessed Gerald violate the protective order at all since it has been put in place?
Yes.
Now, I have to object. If we're here for an allegation of domestic violence battery, which I think is the allegation in the application, I don't know what that has to do with that question.
Well, it's actually simple battery harm, but Ms. Barr, I just want to state that the fact that we're dealing with an allegation that happened, from my understanding, based upon the testimony prior to this application. So, or prior to that, because I haven't even seen if there's actually been granted, but obviously if that's something that's been done. But I just want to keep your mind focused on, you can ask those questions, but we're really here on 12/29/2022. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. For anything regarding that day, I think I don't have any other questions for that day in particular.
No worries. Well, Ms. Massey, thank you so much for your participation this evening. So you have two choices. You can continue to watch this matter on YouTube Live. And since we no longer leave, or you can go and have a great evening, which I always tell people to do, because it doesn't seem to have any direct effect on you because you're not a party. But in the event that you are, you can always catch it on YouTube with everyone else. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Ms. Barra, do you have any other evidence that you want to introduce to the court before we allow defense counsel to be able to introduce any evidence they may have and cross-examine you?
Not that I'm aware of at the moment. Thank you.
Anything that you've emailed that you want the court to observe outside of the incident report that the court has reviewed?
Other than the protective order that was awarded for this exact day and case. But
okay. And was that emailed to the court?
I believe so.
Okay. Let's see. Just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. All right, I'm looking at one and one's not signed. Let me see if I see another. Hold tight. Okay, bear with me here. And you're saying that this particular document is in reference to this event?
Yes, Your Honor, where another judge has looked at the evidence and has.
Yeah, I'm going to have to object to that characterization. This proceeding stands on its own.
Now that's true. Is there any finding of that fact? I know this is a temporary restraining order. When was it granted? Back in February?
It was granted back in February.
Is there any specific? Is there any finding of fact on this, Counsel? Counsel, have you seen this?
I have seen it, Your Honor. My
Hurry to the rescue.
law partner and wife, the TPO was granted, Your Honor, but I would object nonetheless. That's a different standard than we're here for today. And if that was the case, then TPOs and warrant applications would all be rolled into the same thing.
Yeah,
I have a real problem with Ms. Barr, no offense, but I have a real problem coming here and saying, well, the TPO was granted, therefore you got to grant the arrest warrant.
No, but and obviously I know that that's not the basis of what we're doing. And Ms. Barr, I just want to be clear, a TPO in and of itself is not indicative of whether or not an arrest warrant should issue. It's a very common thing for people to get TPOs.
Absolutely, Your Honor. As I bring it up to mention that I am going forward with this out of fear of reprisal. I'm worried that at the end of this, that he will try to physically harm me again, because I have brought this to court. And so if nothing else, I want it for the record that I am trying to protect myself in what ways I can, recognizing that it is only temporary.
I understand. All right, and I do see that this TPO, like I said, was granted in February. I understand that. Bear with me here. All right. Any other evidence that you want the court to review before we give an opportunity for counsel to cross-examine?
There is evidence of the written statements of what occurred on December 29th.
Written statements from who?
From both Valerie as well as myself.
Okay. Was Valerie there?
She was the one who was on the phone with me throughout the experience.
Okay.
She was the one who I caught him cheating on me with because she had messaged him.
All right. So let me ask you this. I understand as far as hearsay evidence, she doesn't necessarily have to be here, but did you try to get Valerie to come in and be a witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and she chose not to come?
There appeared to have been a falling out between some of the other women.
Okay.
Not with me in particular, however.
No, that's fine.
She's tired of how long this has been dragged out. I'm sorry.
I understand, but the court's concerned, obviously, introducing testimony by a party who's not willing to testify at this juncture, and then not really having any means to really cross-examine that evidence by the defense. That really, I'm not so sure that would be appropriate here.
Absolutely understandable. I apologize.
But no, there's no need to apologize. But at the same time, you have a full right. Obviously, you gave your statements in your opening. But obviously, counsel is going to ask you some questions if he so desires. And if those statements were essentially going to be those that you could have either made in your opening or responsive to his questions, we can get that information out there, okay?
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
All right. Counsel.
Thank you. Ms. Barr, I have a few questions, but I'm going to try to keep them more brief and kind of cut to the chase. You met Mr. Lynn in 2019, is that about right?
I don't remember the exact year.
Okay, but you all lived together for about a year and then you all broke up, right?
No, it was not a full year.
Okay, but you lived together for several months and then you broke up.
Yes.
And then you got back together in the last quarter of 2022, right?
After he had been nonstop reaching out to me for 2 years that we were apart.
Okay, well, then let me just kind of cut to the chase. Going back to your petition for the protective order, and I can orient you to paragraph 5. You say as a basis for this, or part of the basis, we live together in the Atlantic Ashford apartments in Brookhaven. You remember this writing that in here?
I'm sorry?
Actually, let me strike that question. Do you remember writing in paragraph 5 of your TPO application that Mr. Lynn also committed acts of rape upon you in Hawaii when you all went out there for a wedding in December of 2019?
So if we're not doing the TPO, how is that applicable here?
Well, ma'am, you have brought up the application by entering it into evidence, and I'm asking you straight up, in Hawaii, when you all traveled there in December 2019, did you allege that he raped you there? Yes or no?
Yes, in fact, Gerald and I talked about it at the time.
Okay, so that's a yes.
Yes, in fact, Gerald and I talked about it at the time.
Okay.
This has been a common discussion over the years.
And you
He says he
also
does not.
you also allege in your application that he raped you at a festival referred to as Alchemy, and that was in October of 2019.
Yes, and he was aware of it at the time that it was rape as well.
Okay. And you also allege that in May of 2019 at a festival called Euphoria, he raped you.
And yes,
right?
once again, it was discussed with him then that he was raping me.
But Ms. Barra, the Euphoria, if I got my times right from your application, Euphoria festival would have happened before the Alchemy Festival, and then after those two would have been Hawaii. Is that right?
I'm not too sure about the exact dates.
Okay, well, if I read in here, Alchemy was October 3rd through October 6th of 2019, and you wrote that, would that be accurate?
What I wrote was accurate as of right now because I do not have the documents and the events in front of me. I had to go back and research to make sure I had the dates correct for the TPO.
We'll do it this way. If you alleged several different festivals over time in 2019, from January through December in your TPO in paragraph 5, as you wrote them, you're vouching that those would have been accurate at the time you wrote them.
Those were accurate.
So what you're telling the court in this TPO is that by your account, Mr. Lynn raped you multiple times, but you kept going to more festivals and going on more trips with him.
Because he was remorseful. He was seeking redemption from me. At that point, he said he didn't want to be that way, that he couldn't believe that of himself, and that he loved me, that he would never do those things. I said to him that I am crying and I'm telling him to stop, that I don't want this thing to happen to me. I don't want that.
Is that the only reason that you all got back together in December of last year?
I'm sorry?
Is that the only reason that you guys got back together in December of last year?
Is that he was remorseful and apologetic just as much as I was.
Okay. And you also were remorseful and apologetic and wanted to be with him because you had inadvertently, accidentally given him herpes and not told him about it. Isn't that true?
No, that is not true at all. He knew from the very beginning. I told him before we ever had sex that I had had herpes.
Okay. Well, do you remember the TPO hearing? Do you remember testifying there?
Would you ask that question again? I'm sorry.
Yes, it's a pretty simple question. Do you remember testifying at the TPO hearing?
Yes, I remember testifying at the TPO hearing.
And at the TPO hearing, you do realize that there was a court reporter who took down everything that was said.
Okay.
If you don't remember that, it's okay. I'm just asking you if you do recall that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does that have to do with things?
Well, because you just told us that he always knew that you had herpes.
Yes.
Isn't it true that at the TPO hearing, you testified to the contrary, that you wanted to stay with him because you felt badly that you accidentally given him herpes?
No, because as of October, when we first started talking again, and he was being remorseful, that's when he told me for the first time that he had found out he had had herpes after we had broken up.
Okay, well, if
I found out since then he has been sleeping with multiple women who both also have herpes.
Okay, well, if you
He
notice,
was not telling them.
are you done? Okay, if you notice, I'm turning because I'm trying to flip through the transcript because I have inadvertently lost the exact place where that is, but I will locate it. Let me move on and I'll come back to that as I go. So during the altercation on December 29th, well, let me back up. You would agree with me that in my opening statement where I stated that you discovered Mr. Lynn's relationship with Miss Robin, you would agree that you discovered it on the night of December 28th. Is that right?
Yes.
And as a result of that, you wanted to get on a phone call with Ms. Robin at that time. Is that right?
Personally, and I did personally.
And that phone call lasted about 6 hours. Isn't that true?
The phone call between Gerald and Valerie, where I was also present, that one lasted 6 hours. However, there were more phone calls throughout.
Well, I'm asking about that one. Now, that one ended at approximately 6 o'clock in the morning. Isn't that accurate?
Yes. We all agreed that it was late and that we all needed to rest and think about this before talking about it again the next morning.
But you wanted Mr. Lynn to stay with you that night?
No. He said that he was not able to drive because he had been doing cocaine.
You could have called him an Uber if you did not want him to stay overnight. Isn't that true?
I don't have the money for that.
You could have insisted that he call an Uber if you didn't want him to stay there that night.
If he was going to be able to get home safely, even at that.
Isn't it true that you told Miss Robin that you wanted him to stay there that night before you hung up the phone?
That out of safety, that to me was the safest place.
You have a couch in your residence, is that right?
No, not full couch. I have a futon mattress.
Yet you wanted Mr. Lynn to sleep next to you at 6 o'clock in the morning as the two of you did.
No, I made sure that there were pillows between us because I did not want him touching me.
But you all slept on the same bed?
Yes.
Okay.
About an hour or two.
Okay, I was going to say 3 to 4 hours, but I'll go with you. So after a short time, Mr. Hooks called and was speaking to Mr. Lynn on the telephone. Isn't that right?
After we both woken up.
And they were talking about business, and Mr. Lynn said he had to leave. Isn't that right?
No, he said that he was dealing with a domestic dispute first. That's where I corrected him.
Right, and then according to your testimony a moment ago, you told Mr. Hooks to call the police.
After he had lied, after Gerald had lied to him on the phone, yes. I said,
So
call the cops because he's been cheating on us and he's been lying to us. And that's when he was physically hitting himself with with his glasses, and I was saying he's becoming violent, and that's where I was getting scared. I asked Rodney to call the cops.
So if Mr. Rodney were to testify as he's about to and say that that never happened, Mr. Hooks would be lying. Is that correct?
I believe that would be correct. Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Hooks left your apartment. Well, actually, before I go there, you would deny that you got up into Mr. Lynn's face and you were trying to force him to stay in your apartment, weren't you?
No, I deny that.
So you wanted him to leave.
I did want him to leave at his own accord, but he told me he wanted to talk things out.
And so you would deny that you were blocking his path and you were getting in his face and trying to get in his and block him from leaving.
No, I did not.
So you're denying.
He had asked me to hold his hands and to cup his face at one point in particular.
He asked you to cup his face?
Yes. Like
Now,
hold his face like this and to look him in the eyes, to trust him. He begged me to trust him.
but he did eventually leave your apartment that morning.
Yes.
And you did not call the police.
No, because I was on the phone with Valerie, and Gerald had just told me that if I had called the cops, that they wouldn't do anything to help me.
Well, you were on the phone with your friend Valerie, so that was what blocked you from calling the police.
No, it was that that Gerald himself had told me that if I tried to call the police, they would not help me.
Okay, but he left, didn't he?
This is while I'm on the phone with Valerie.
He left, yes?
Yes.
So after he left, you could have hung up the phone from Valerie and called the police.
Why would I call the police if he had just explained to me they wouldn't do anything to help? I didn't go to the police until Valerie had explained and in full detail explained to me that they would help me, and then here's how. She helped me by meeting me there because I'm nervous about it myself. I'm scared.
Well, let me explore that with you a little bit. You initially, according to your testimony, screamed at Mr. Hooks, call the police, correct?
Yes, because he was becoming violent to himself.
And then, according to your testimony, Mr. Hooks ignored you. He didn't call the police, did he?
I don't know.
Well, the police didn't show up, did they?
No, they did not.
Okay. So then you get on the phone with Valerie, right?
It's that I've been on the phone with Valerie throughout this.
Okay, so you've got a phone to your ear with Valerie, and you're screaming to Mr. Hooks about calling the police, but Valerie didn't call the police, did she?
I don't know.
Well, again, the police didn't arrive that day, did they?
No, we went to the police station ourselves. We did go to the police.
And you don't have any evidence of visible bruises or injuries, do you? No pictures or anything like that they did?
I went to the ER and they took internal imaging where they saw internal bruising, which can only occur through domestic violence. I do have that.
Whoa. Internal bruising can only happen from domestic violence. That's your testimony.
On my neck. It was internal bruising on my neck from where it wrapped around the door frame.
We don't have an x-ray, a photo, or anything like that today, do we?
I do have that.
But the judge just asked you to produce all your evidence. We haven't seen anything like that, have we?
I apologize. I'm not well versed in this.
Okay. And you don't deny that in the days, you filed your TPO on January the 19th?
I'm sorry?
You filed your TPO on January the 19th?
I don't remember the exact day. I'm sorry.
Middle of January?
I don't remember the exact day. I apologize. It was soon after the event.
Okay, so it was sometime after December 29th, right?
It was soon after the event.
Okay.
They had to help. I could not do this by myself. I was so scared.
Well, I note that your calls to Ms. Massey seem to flourish between December 29th and January the 19th. Were you calling her, asking for advice on how to do this?
It's that we were talking together, becoming friends. We wanted to support each other through this, recognizing that I've been hurt throughout this physically. She has been hurt emotionally. We were
She was
taking
hurt
our time.
emotionally by Mr. Lynn.
No, the fact that this had happened to me.
So you were good friends with Miss Massey, and also you became good friends, or were good friends for a while, with Miss Robin, who was also dating Mr. Lynn.
There's some speculation about the time that they were officially breaking up.
Okay, well, we won't quibble about that, but how many more of Mr. Lynn's ex-girlfriends did you feel the need to reach out to in January of this year?
No, I haven't. It's
Just,
not a matter of-
just those two. Is that right?
So no, Heather reached out to me first before this occurred.
Right.
And so I responded to her message, letting her know that what had occurred. And that's where her and I became friends. When I had reached out to Valerie the day that this occurred, the night before, that leading up into this event. That's the only one that I've reached out to personally.
But you were very angry with Mr. Lynn when you found out dating him.
And forgive me, folks. Listen, and I respectfully, I understand the seriousness of obviously these allegations, but I want to obviously know that we're getting towards the 8 o'clock hour. So I want to give you guys, obviously, counsel. You haven't even gotten into your case in chief, and so I want to probably see if you can get your cross-examination done here in the next 3 minutes. I'm going to be honest because I've gotten a lot of testimony out, and I want to see if you're going to produce anything, because this is not a trial.
I understand, Your Honor. I'm going to need less than 3 minutes.
All right.
So, Miss Barra, you were very upset with Mr. Lynn when you found out on December 29th that he was dating another lady. Yes?
I was confused. I was trying to figure out what was going on, whether this was someone that he was with, because as far as I was concerned, it was just a friend. So I didn't understand why he was reacting the way he was, why she was saying what she was saying. I was trying to get to the bottom of it and asking the questions of, okay, so who are you to him? What is she to you? Okay, now that we're all on the same page, where are we going from here?
It took 6 hours to get on the same page, and you're saying that you were not upset with him.
It has taken much longer than 6 hours to get on the same page, considering how much he has lied to us about this.
I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Barra, do you have any other evidence before we close out?
I mean, other than going, I don't know. I don't want to have. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do this properly, and I wouldn't want to waste y'all's time by going through every single piece of evidence. However, with the most recent, with the questions I was just being asked, I don't know if I need to go through every single piece of evidence and have us look through that for the sake of proving my side of things.
Well, what the court obviously is most interested in is the event on 12/29. I understand that you guys have had a long list of questions, but people have introduced TPOs and various things that have obviously produced evidence outside of the event of 12/29. But the court's most interested in 12/29, and so if there are any evidence specifically regarding 12/29. That would be the court's interest.
Right. So, like the pictures of where the crime took place, showing that I couldn't. There's no possible way for me to keep him there, considering it's a circular loop. He could have just gone the opposite direction at any point, but he was physically leading me by my hand from one room to the next to sit down and talk things out.
Oh, okay. So again, at this point, you're pretty much giving testimony.
Sorry.
I'm not so sure that pictures would be relevant at this juncture, but if that's, the court will take observation of any photographs. Did you email those photographs? I did see some pictures of a car. I didn't see any pictures of inside of a home.
Yes, there are pictures.
But
there are also pictures of the injuries as well as the hospital invoices of where they were saying that it was domestic violence. I mean,
hold on, I don't want to not.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hospital bill. Here we go. All right.
Your Honor, I don't have that in front of me.
No, I just wanted to look at it here as the photos. Let me see. Now, ma'am, I'm just concerned now because the picture that you identify say they're from December 28th. So before I introduce these, are these the appropriate pictures? Because the attachment says 28th, 2022.
28th. I'm sorry.
And here,
I'm still trying to find the right photos myself.
hold on, the court's going to show. And as you can see here, the date identified on this particular evidence is the 28th.
Okay, then
Is
that
that,
is
is that an error here?
that's an error.
Okay.
Because this had happened over the course of several hours and over the 28th and 29th. I apologize if there's been timing errors on that, but it was within that same 24-hour span.
Okay, so the court just wants to understand. You're saying these photographs or the event that are from the 28th, but there were physical acts going on during that period of time. I just want to make sure that we're introducing relevant evidence.
The 28th is when I found out that he was talking to her.
Uh-huh.
The 29th, I feel like I need to pull up a calendar just to be sure at this point. I'm sorry.
Well, okay, well, if you're alleging that these are pictures from the event, let's just see what we've got here. So show the court where are we supposed to be looking here?
This was taken immediately after. And no, there are not any physical marks that you can see externally. All of the marks were internal, where they took X-rays and CT scans.
So what is this photo showing the court?
That was pictures that I was suggested to take after physical assault. You're supposed to take pictures.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what this was. And then it, if anything, to show how small I am in comparison to him. In this photo in particular, this is from where he had requested for me to hug him. And then just before he threw me the second time. That's from where my finger had gotten caught on the zipper of his pants, because I hugged him from the side, and then he turned and picked me up and threw me. And so within him turning really quickly is where my finger got caught there.
All right, I believe that's it there. Hold on. Let's look at this hospital bill. Okay, hold tight. All right, we got a hospital bill. And what would you, let's see here, I'm not sure. I see the bill.
No, that's not what well, unless they specifically state on there, which I don't think they do. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe this is it. Is this it here?
Showing that I did actually go and I did seek medical help to go and I did get x-rays done, yes.
Okay, okay. And do you have any pictures of those results?
I do have them, but I don't know if they've been submitted. I apologize.
Okay.
Because I have them on a physical disc.
All right.
God damn it, YouTube Daddy doesn't like that part. Come on, Larry. Come on, Larry.
This is here. Radiology Associates of Atlanta. Did you go to a hospital and get this done?
Yes, Your Honor.
Which, I'm sorry, just trying to make sure it's a hospital. Okay, I see your Piedmont Hospital there. All right, anything else?
Can we exit out of full view so I can review my email? Thank you. Okay, the email is evidence official hospital records of ER visit. I apologize.
No, it's fine. Just
Neighbors with their kids upstairs.
Okay, hold on. It's the document is not a full document here, so.
So the one regarding the submission of final diagnosis of assault and
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna bring all that up. I just want to make sure we have the full documents for the time.
I apologize. Thank you.
Let's see. All right. That's what we got.
Larry to the rescue.
Anything else?
I'm going to have a couple follow-up questions after this, Your Honor, based on this.
Sure. Give me 1 second if there. Let me see if there's anything else. All right.
I apologize. Are we reading on something in particular?
No, I was just checking something before I let you guys continue on. All right, now, counsel, obviously that was a lot of evidence, but I have to remind you that I need to conclude this so I can get you 2 other hearings.
Very quickly, Judge.
All right, so Ms. Barra, counsel's going to ask you some more questions based on the evidence that you produced, okay?
All right. Ms. Barra, you showed us a picture of your finger that had a little mark or a boo-boo on it, and you said that it had gotten caught in his zipper. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I had hugged him from the waist.
Right. You said that you hugged him. He wanted a hug and that you hugged him, right?
Yes. Because he wanted to talk things out.
Right. So if he were to testify that you were flailing around trying to stop him, your testimony is that when you hug somebody, your hand goes down by his crotch?
No, it's that I hugged him from the side around his waist. He hugged me from up top like this, and I hugged him from underneath his waist, underneath his arms, around his waist.
Okay. And regarding your medical records there that you showed us, none of the medical professionals that examined you that next day were present in your apartment that night, were they? Wouldn't make any sense, right?
Can you rephrase the question?
None of the medical professionals that examined you were present in your apartment that morning when you say the assault occurred, right? Right? Wouldn't make sense.
I don't understand why you'd ask that question.
Doesn't matter that you understand why. The question's simple. The x-ray tech, the doctor, the nurses, none of them were in your apartment, right?
Of course not. Why?
So what they knew about what would have happened would have only been what you told them, right?
Understandable.
Okay. I have no further questions.
That and also the x-rays and CT scans that they did, they said that's the only way that could have occurred.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Any other evidence, Ms. Barra?
Again, I don't want to waste your time if we're just but yes, I would like to view all of the evidence that I've presented, that I have submitted. Excuse me.
And the question specifically, because I'll be honest, we're not going to waste time going over things that are not relevant about the day of the event. I want you to get justice, but we're not going to waste time because that doesn't give justice to people. So tell me what evidence you want me to introduce, because there are pictures of cars. That's not relevant. There are other evidence that's not relevant. Call messages and group text. That's not relevant. So the court is not being mean. The court wants you to be prepared. So tell me what you want me to look at, because you sent me a lot of evidence, but I want to again deal with the issue of what happened on the 29th.
Okay. In that case, Your Honor, I'm not sure what else to bring up at this point. I apologize.
No, there's no apology. I want you to be clear about that. But I want to be clear that you also respect the court's time with what you have, right? Because we're not going to chase rabbits, all right? All right. Anything else because we've reviewed the medical records. I just want to make sure that we've gone over the evidence that reviewed, so you make sure that you had everything. Gone over the medical records, establishing what your care was on the date of the 12/30. We also had evidence of a TPO order that you've introduced as well. I have reviewed the incident report and seen that as well. I understand the date and time when that was made, as well as the evidence or in the testimony by Miss Massey. Is there anything else? And we all saw pictures, obviously, of your body here that you were saying from the date of the incident the next day. Is there anything else that you want the court to see?
Nothing that I can think of at the moment, Your Honor. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, counsel. It'll be your case in chief. It is 7:47. I would like to conclude with this matter at 8 o'clock.
I'm trying to move fast, Your Honor, but understand to present Mr. Hooks and then possibly my client in 13 minutes puts him and his liberties at stake. I have very little.
I understand, but we're not going to be here till 11 o'clock.
I don't intend to be here till 11.
I know you won't be, but I've got other cases after y'all. So be respectful of them, and whatever evidence you want to, we'll get to. So how do you want to proceed first,
I
counsel?
want to proceed with Mr. Rodney Hooks at this time.
All right. Mr. Hooks, now I will be concerned, counsel.
Yeah.
I asked people to be sequestered. Anybody that was a witness that would need to be removed. My concern was he wasn't identified, and nor was he removed. So he's been hearing and listening to all this testimony. I'm concerned about that. Because
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I only have about 5 or 6 people on my screen here. I've got my client here in the office. I didn't realize that he was present on there.
I just want to make clear that that did not happen. All right.
Well, okay, Your Honor.
So the court will take that. No, it's fine. You can call your witness, but the court will take in consideration of the fact that he's been present for the testimony.
I understand, Your Honor. I'd like to call Mr. Hooks. Mr. Hooks, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Get you under
Please raise your right hand.
You swear. I got it. You swear and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of the law.
Yes, sir.
All right. It's your witness, Mr. Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Hooks. You are Rodney Hooks.
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. Do you know Gerald Lynn?
Yes, sir, I do.
How do you know him?
Business partners. We started doing. Actually, I started working for him, flipping houses.
Okay, so that's your business. Y'all flip houses together.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long have you done that with him?
For a couple of years, sir.
Okay. I'm going to direct your attention to December 29th, thereabout. Do you remember that day receiving a call from him in the morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you
actually, I called.
I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Did you call him that morning?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Was the call work related?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. When you called him, was there any difficulty getting in touch with him that morning?
Yes, sir, it was.
Can you explain that?
Sir, I called him. The first couple of times it was hung up.
Mm-hmm.
I would hear noise in the background and screaming and yelling.
Okay.
At that point in time, it did alert me. My background is a military police officer for 21 years.
Okay.
It alerted me. So the first thing I did, the house in which we're working on is not too far from his residence, is I proceeded right to his residence.
Okay. Did you finally get him on the phone after those initial times?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said you heard screaming in the background. Was it Mr. Lynn that was screaming in the background?
No, sir, it was not. He was actually very calm.
Okay.
I did hear a female voice. She was very irate. She was very loud.
Okay. Do you know Miss Barra?
No, sir, I do not. I have seen her once or twice in the vehicle, but I have not actually met her or conversed with her.
Okay.
I try to keep my business separate from my pleasure.
Okay. I got that. When you heard the loudness and the carrying on in the background, did you know it was Miss Barra at the time?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. Then let me direct your attention to what you heard at that time. At that time, did Miss Barra ask you to call the police?
No, sir, she did not.
Did she ask you to call 911?
No, sir, she did not.
Okay. What did you hear being said, if anything?
I did hear the wording, and I didn't write it down because I didn't know it was going to this. I would have written it down if I'd have thought it was going anything like this. I did. Well, I don't like to be in people's business, but I did hear her ask how long y'all been together. I did hear him state that he just wants to leave. And I did hear her say, if you leave, I'm going to call the cops.
If you leave, I'm going to call the cops. And you
Yes.
sure that was a female voice that said that?
Yes, 100%.
And this was December 29th, about 10 o'clock in the morning?
Yes.
Okay. How long did you say you've worked with Gerald Lynn?
Only a couple of years, about 3 years, a little over 3 years.
Do you interact with him daily?
Yes, on a daily.
Do you find him to be a truthful person?
100%. If he says it, he's like me. That's the only reason I continue to work with him. He sticks with his word.
Okay. So in a contest between Gerald saying one thing and another person saying another, you trust Gerald's word?
100%.
Even
Even when something goes wrong, if he's done something wrong on a job or something like that, or was short on something, he will state that it was his fault.
Okay. I did not realize that you hadn't been sequestered. Has anything you've heard today affected you or changed the nature of what you have to say?
No, sir, it has not. Also, my background as a military police officer, I was Department of Defense sexual assault advocate. So if I would have thought something like that, I would have surely testified with that.
Were you so concerned about what you heard that you said you went to his house?
Yes, I called another contractor that works with us, and I said, let's go to his house right now because I thought someone was harming him.
Describe what happened when you went to his house. Were you armed?
Yes, sir, I was. I had my weapon with me.
So you were so concerned that you showed up there with a gun?
Always.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Barra, do you have any questions for Mr. Hooks? And they can be cross-examination questions that you can ask with leading questions.
I believe so. I'm sorry. Why did you feel the need to take it upon yourself to show up with guns instead of calling the police yourself?
Because I heard a female screaming in the background, and he was trying to leave. It seemed as though he was trying to leave and he wasn't being allowed to leave. I thought someone was in Atlanta, I've seen it to where I've had personnel being held by females and males and not able to leave. I've had investors that have had stuff done. And I've actually had 2 houses I went in that had bodies when the investors got there. So I didn't know what was going on. And they can pull up those also to where we found those bodies with Kelly Parker and Gene Johnson.
Why would you take it upon yourself instead of calling the police?
Because I was not sure about the situation. I was never asked to call the police. No one ever said to call the police. I heard him saying, I want to leave. So at that point in time, that's why I proceeded the way I proceeded. And plus, I was only a couple minutes down the road. From his house to actually 3656, the house that we were working on that day, Locksburg, it's less than 4 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I have no further questions for Mr. Hooks.
Okay, Ms. Barra, I just want to be confirmed. Are you done with this witness? Do you have no other questions for this witness?
No other questions as far as I can tell. Thank you.
All right. Counsel, any redirect?
Well, no redirect. I'm done with Mr. Hooks, but I would like now to call my client, Mr. Lynn.
All right, Mr. Hooks, you can place yourself on mute. As I've told other folks, you can either remain or watch the stuff on you. I mean, you can either go or watch it on YouTube. Same thing for you, Miss Massey. I would like it if you guys are no longer going to be witnesses. You can go ahead and log off and go ahead and log on YouTube. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I appreciate it. All right. You can catch it on the YouTube channel. Still going. All right. All right, counsel, you want to call your client, Mr. Lane?
I do.
Mr. Lane, you've already been put under oath, so you guys can go ahead and agree to
Thank you, Your Honor. Gerald.
Yes.
You and Miss Barra dated for a period of time and then broke up. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to be quick, but about how many months did you date before y'all broke up?
10, 11 months.
Okay. And then about how many months were you broken up?
2 years.
Okay. And then is it accurate that you guys got back together the last quarter of 2022?
That's correct.
Okay. You are aware of the TPO application she filed against you, yes?
After I found out from a tenant where it was addressed to, and my tenants let the sheriffs know, let me know that the sheriffs were looking for me.
Okay. Have you read it?
I had not read any of it.
Okay, but you've heard today the discussions about paragraph 5, where she alleges that you raped her time and time again, all throughout 2019.
Yes.
Did that ever happen?
No.
Okay. In December of 2020, on December 29th, sorry about that, or the 28th, the night before, is it accurate that to say that she discovered that you were also dating another lady, Miss Robin?
That would be correct.
Okay. Whose idea was it to have a 6-hour-long conference call about this?
Kylie's.
Okay. That's Miss Barra.
Yes.
Okay. At the end of that call, did Miss Barra want you to stay the night?
I asked her, I told her specifically, if you want me to go, I would totally understand. I'm a little too tired to drive. I can take an Uber. She told me she wanted me to stay. And I asked her, do you want me to stay here, futon or otherwise? And no, she had me sleep next to her on the bed.
Okay, so it was her idea that you sleep next to her on the bed.
Correct.
Okay. The next morning, or actually later that morning, because you went to sleep about 6 a.m., correct? About 6 a.m.?
Correct.
Were you awoken by a phone call from Mr. Hooks?
Yes.
Okay. Was that a work-related phone call?
Always is.
Okay. Did that motivate you to do anything, that call?
I put on speakerphone because I was trying to build whatever trust I could somehow repair in this situation with Kylie. And she got up and started screaming into the phone.
Okay. How was she acting? What was her demeanor like?
Panicked, irrational, fearful. She basically, while I had the phone open in one hand, was backing me into a set of containers that were opposite the side of the bed.
Okay. We've heard testimony today that she was on a phone with her friend, Miss Robin, her new friend, your ex-girlfriend or girlfriend or other girlfriend. Was that true?
No.
Okay. The only person on the phone at that time was you and Mr. Hooks?
This is correct.
Okay. You've heard her testify today that she asked Mr. Hooks, yelled at him to call the police. Did that happen?
No.
Okay. Did she try to block your path?
She had me cornered against the containers. She grabbed me by the face, just trying to be intense. But I had nowhere to go. I was locked in.
Okay. As a result of that, did you try to move past her and leave?
I did. I grabbed her around a little bit above the waist. The bed was about 2 feet, 3 feet behind us. And I pushed her onto the bed so that I could somehow get out of there. Because at that point, when she said, help, if you try to leave, I'm going to call the police. I was like, I got to get out of here. This is no longer safe or sane.
Okay. Did you use a limited amount of force so that you could get past her?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you have done that otherwise if she hadn't been in your face as you described?
No.
All right. Have you ever been accused of anything like this?
Never.
All right. After this happened, did you leave fairly quickly?
I needed to get my non-nighttime wear, which was in the office, my computer bag, and so I tried to move quickly into the bathroom, and she had gotten off the bed and then was grabbing at my arm and shirt as I was trying to pull away.
Okay.
And I got into the office, packed my stuff as quickly as I could to try and get out of there.
All right. After all this happened, were you taunted by Ms. Barra and her new friend, Ms. Robin and Ms. Massey?
Was that
Taunted? Were they trying to pick at you?
Showed up. So the 20th of January, I was at a party and all three of them showed up in cat ears together at a party, and they stood 15 feet away from me on a deck at a place called the Highlander at a party there. I knew they saw me. When they moved away, I went and notified the two party promoters, hey, I've got a problem here. I've got some exes that have been, it's obvious they're up to something. I'm just letting you know, I'm going to get out of here because that seems like the right idea, and I'm not going to ruin your party. Certainly not going to create any incidents.
All right. And did they taunt you collectively or individually regarding gifts you'd given them previously?
About the end, following that weekend on Monday, I came out to my car at 2 a.m. and I found 2 garbage bags filled.
I'm really sorry. I'm such a child. I can just imagine him talking to his car at 2 a.m. like, hey, I got to tell you something about myself. It's really important. I didn't know how to say it. I'm so sorry.
With gifts that I had given Kylie and Valerie at different points. It was, yeah, it was just, yeah.
Okay, I got it. Next question. Gerald, did you do these mean things that she's described? She's described you pushing her 7 feet and pushing her into a door frame. Did you do these things?
No.
Why would you not do these things?
Because that's not who I am. I'm a pastor's kid. You don't fight back against someone who's smaller than you. You just don't hit people. That's not what you do.
No further questions. Thank you.
All right, now, Ms. Barr, you're going to get an opportunity to cross-examine Mr. Lynn. As I said before, you can ask her questions that are leading. Give you an opportunity to do that.
Feeling uncomfortable doing so myself, may I request, I don't know, is first and foremost, so these are questions that I'm asking him directly myself,
Correct.
not to him to ask him. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
You don't have to ask him questions, but if you would like to.
Thank you. One second. Do you believe that I was injured?
No.
Did you throw me?
Onto the bed.
Did you threaten to hit me by raising your hand to swing with the back of your hand while claiming that you now understand why men hit women?
No.
What address is listed on your driver's license?
And
Whoa.
I just will say that your identification of anybody's address will have to be put in the chat box. We're not going to identify open addresses.
Okay, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm reading down a list. I'm apologizing. I'm very nervous right now, and this is scary in particular. This is our first time in. Sorry.
Her attitude's throwing my computer off.
Why did you recommend that I seek medical care if you believe I was not injured?
If you felt in any way that you were ill or harmed in any way, I want to make sure you're okay.
If you had been served the the TPO documents, why did you stand and stare at us while we were dancing and then further come up to
Your Honor,
question?
that is not relevant to the acts of December 29th and whether there was a battery.
But keep our questions focused on that, okay? I understand you guys have had a prior relationship, but let's keep it focused.
Did you file a police report regarding this incident?
I had a discussion with DeKalb County Police the day afterwards with Rodney Hooks present. They recommended that I file a TPO in the Clarkston area. I did not file that TPO. I should have.
Considering your height and your weight as opposed to mine, why did you feel trapped?
You're aggressive to me. You're grabbing me. You're pinning me against this, and you're screaming at me.
Thank you, Your Honor. No more further questions. Or actually, sorry, I apologize. One more thing. At any point, did I have a weapon that would make that scary to you? I'm having trouble understanding why I scared you so much to make you feel like you were trapped in this
You were
instance.
trying to hurt me.
Thank you, Your Honor. No more questions.
All right, any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any other evidence?
No other evidence, Your Honor. Just a brief closing.
All right, Ms. Barr, I'm going to give you an opportunity to close and tell the court why you believe an arrest warrant should be issued.
I believe that I need protection from this man. Based on what has been provided, as well as what has been expressed this far. That's it.
Okay. Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I don't take any joy in this. It's late. I want to go home too, and I don't envy you because when I get to go home, you're still here. I think the most critical witness here today was Mr. Hooks, 21 years in the Army, and he wasn't a dirty, nasty infantryman like I was. He was a military policeman and a sharp investigator, which means that he dealt with sexual assault crimes in particular. And he said to the court that he heard a female at that time on the phone in the presence of Mr. Lynn, and he heard a female voice say, if you leave, I'm going to call the police. Why does she want to call the police if he leaves? And Mr. Hooks said that he got the distinct impression that the female was not allowing him to leave. And he also said in direct contradiction to Ms. Barra, I was never asked to call the police. Yet she said very clearly that she asked Rodney, that's Mr. Hooks, to call the police. He is the ground zero witness to attest to what was actually going on in the apartment. You heard from Mr. Lynn that Ms. Barr was not on the phone with anybody. She was not on the phone with Miss Robin, who is also chosen not to be here today. But Mr. Hooks was there on the phone. There is no doubt of that, and he's told us what actually happened. And you've got to question the credibility of Ms. Barra when her TPO application talks about rape after rape after rape. But the police were never called, nothing ever happened. And she gets back together with him a couple of years later. And that's got to strain credibility. What also strains credibility is that she submitted medical records to Your Honor that said the x-ray and the CT scans were normal. And you and I both know when those records say things like assault victim, it's because of what the patient conveys to the staff. But the records that are before you said that all of her scans were normal. The questions at the very end actually sum it all up very well. Ms. Barra asked, why did you feel trapped? Mr. Lynn said, you were being aggressive to me. You were grabbing at me. You screamed at me. And it doesn't matter that he's larger than her and that she's smaller. That makes the situation even more precarious for him. The bottom line is that if I have a female who's smaller than a male and she's aggressive, like a loose cannon, irrational, grabbing at him, screaming at him, he is in a very dangerous position. And Official Code of Georgia 16-3-21 and 22, or 20 and 21 deal with the justification and reasonable use of force. There is no evidence here that she was slammed into a door frame. There's no evidence here that her neck was contorted around a door frame or that anything's happened like she's described. There is evidence that he pushed her onto a bed, a soft landing, because she was in his face and wouldn't get out of his way. And then he immediately left. What do we want people like Mr. Lynn to do? When confronted with a situation like this, we want them to leave as expeditiously as possible. That's what the man did. There's no evidence here that he used excessive force. He used what he deemed, what a reasonable person in his position would deem necessary to get the hell out of there. And that's what he did. That's why we're asking you not to bind this over for probable cause, not to find that an arrest warrant is warranted. It doesn't seem to be a secret to the court that a TPO was granted. It's a different standard. He wants nothing to do with Ms. Barra, and that's exactly what the civil order does. He just wants to go about his business. Let's let him do that. Let's dismiss this. That's it.
All right. Well, the court's going to make just the following statement. Obviously, the court has heard evidence regarding this matter. Obviously, this is not a trial. The evidence is shown, and no one has seemed to dispute that you guys have had a relationship over an extended period of time. And the evidence indicated that you guys, as far as physically, were the only parties in the home at the time of this particular event. What we do have, though, and everybody is consistent on, is that there was a push. There was a push that led to you being on the bed. However, the allegation that led to your subsequent going to the hospital was this alleged push into a door frame that hurt your neck. Despite the fact that we have medical evidence to show that you went to the hospital, we do not have any evidence, on the other hand, that you actually suffered any injury. I did see the incident report that was provided from this incident that was made on the 31st. And it indicates that there were no signs of physical injury. And I just will say that that is not always indicative of anything. Again, the particular statute indicates that it intentionally makes physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature with a person or another, or intentionally causes physical harm to another. I'm not sure that we have the intent to cause physical harm to another when the allegations that there was at least, if not some type of argument, disagreement going on at the time of the allegation. Probable cause is not necessarily saying threshold is beyond a reasonable doubt, but it's a kind of a reasonable person standard here. And I've just got a he said, she said situation. And that makes it difficult for the judge to justify essentially usurping someone's civil liberties and putting them in jail when I don't have any sufficiency here to establish that there was actually not only an insulting or intentional touching here, beyond where someone was maybe touching them and then that person responded elsewhere. So as far as this particular request, it will be denied. I do understand that there is already a TPO, and let me be clear about that as well for Mr. Lynn. As you know, a TPO means that there is no contact with this person. Obviously, your violation of that could have some serious consequences against you, which I'm sure you were already apprised of, and so is your lawyer apprised you of that. But Ms. Barr, I want to make clear as well, so you don't feel as if you're entering this situation with no consideration. You have a TPO. This person that you provided that you're very scared of and fearful of, you have that particular not resolution, but you have that's been provided by the court that essentially prevents him from being around you. There should be no communication, no talks. Now, whatever else goes on for whatever other cases or allegations that you have will proceed. This has no bearing on those. And this has no bearing on whether or not your TPO is still in place. So I want to make sure that you understand that as well, so that you don't feel that this dismissal has any impact and he can just come back around you. That's not the case at all. Okay? But the court does not find that there was sufficient evidence to show that he actually pushed you into a door and caused the injury to your neck, because I don't have any supporting evidence to supply that beyond he said, she said. You understand? And so that is going to be the ruling of the court. And so you guys are dismissed. I appreciate your time, and we will we'll get you a copy of that order.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good night. I hope you're not up too late.
No, we'll see. All right, thank you. All right, folks, and I hate to rush us along, but what we're going to do, and I'll be honest, as much as we love attorneys. They can be long-winded. So we're going to see if we can go ahead and get through these matters. And obviously, I want to make sure that we get through the full, all the evidence to make sure that you have had an opportunity to get your full justice here. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and get our next case, which is going to be, bear with me. That's going to be Mark Parrish versus Andre Lloyd. And let me make sure I get both of those parties, Mr. Parrish.
And let me just start by explaining to y'all, we've seen these guys before too at a TPO hearing. Because the video that's coming up, we've seen. I dissected it. I remember thinking to myself, shit, that person's got cameras directly into their neighbor's backyard. I don't think my neighbor would necessarily like all the things if they had cameras like that angle. But anyways, my brain, I have aphantasia. For anybody who's new here, I'm Kitchen Court Cases. We're just about to watch this next case, but I want to give a little heads up because there's a lot of diehard court watchers in this chat room, and this is a case we have absolutely heard part of before. And I think it's frustrating mostly that people are trying to use the system multiple ways to get the same thing. Anyways, also, if you're new here, we use the like button to take attendance or dislike button, whichever you prefer, but make sure that we get you clocked in for your shift. And also, this is Larry Beaver, just right here. He helps us do lots of things. He covers up kids and things that YouTube Daddy doesn't want us to show, and a few other things. So when you see Larry Beaver on the screen, you can know that he is helping us out. Yeah, Mayor never watches court. I mean, honestly, I guess most people in here don't really watch court. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Of course we do. We are diehard court people in here. It's the truth. So, we saw this case again, and so I actually had a moment where I thought, oh, I don't know how, but somehow I've like gone back in time to this day because I heard her case first and I was like, oh, I've heard this before, right? And then this one pops up and I'm like, now I've heard both of these before and I'm getting freaked out, to be honest with you, because again, like I've said before, reruns are not something you often see when you watch live court. So this is odd. Anyways, let's continue. Oh, and last thing, this is a civilian warrant application. The person that's coming here wants to get the person arrested. That is the whole goal here. They are asking for an arrest warrant. The last one was denied. This one, we'll see what happens. Wrong button.
Mr. Lloyd, before we get started, what witnesses do you have here this evening?
I have my girlfriend,
Okay, and who is she?
Mary Tate.
Miss Tate, I appreciate your presence, but we're going to put you in a waiting room until we need to call you for evidence, okay?
Okay.
All right. Anyone else that you have here today, Mr. Parrish, that you need to call regarding your allegation for terrorist threats?
I emailed all my information into the courts
Sure thing, sure thing.
on Thursday.
All right, Mr. Lloyd, tell me, do you have any witnesses here this evening other than this young lady that looks like has a similar last name?
Yes, Your Honor. My wife, Cheryl Lloyd, and my mother-in-law, Willie Mae Thomas.
All right, well, Miss Thomas, I'm going to have you be placed in a waiting room, and so when it is your appropriate time, we'll call you, okay? Miss Lloyd as well, we will have you in a waiting room. When it was your appropriate time, we shall call you as well. Folks, the parties that are not actually being heard right now, if you can just do me a hot favor, don't go nowhere, but just turn your camera off. Sometimes the court and parties, when they're discussing these matters, see you, and sometimes it can distract them. And it is not intentional, but y'all are not testifying, so y'all tend to be doing other things during that time. All right, so I do see that we have all of the witnesses off here for this case. So you guys have had the benefit of sitting and hearing the previous case. I don't anticipate that you guys will be nearly as long, but that's okay. You may be. And so I just want to set the groundwork so you guys understand we are here regarding a February 23rd, 2023 allegation of terroristic threats that has been committed by Mr. Lloyd. Again, this particular application has been filed by Mr. Parrish. And again, this is an event that occurred on February 23rd, 2023. So what I'm going to do, folks, is get you guys under oath, and then I will allow Mr. Parrish to give a brief opening statement, no more than 3 to 4 minutes, and then I will allow Mr. Lloyd as well the same, and then we'll get into some evidence. Okay? Get everybody to raise their right hand. Swear, affirm, and tell the truth, the whole truth, and guilty and perjury of the law.
I swear.
I do.
All right, Mr. Lloyd, you can either stay quiet or be on mute if you feel like you can't hold yourself. And I'm going to allow Mr. Parrish, it is now 8:18, basically 8:19. I allow him to give a little statement until about 8:23.
All right, well, it's been ongoing for the past 2.5, going on 3 years. It all started when Mr. Lloyd was caught on my Ring camera throwing urine across the fence onto my boat. So I came home, called the officers, they saw the camera, they went to arrest him, but
I'm sorry. I must have missed that when I was prepping this earlier because I was busy. Did he just say, let's just go back. Let's just hear him say it again.
23.
all right, well, it's been ongoing for the past 2.5, going on 3 years. It all started when Mr. Lloyd was caught on my Ring camera throwing urine across the fence onto my boat. So I came home, called the officers, they saw the camera, they went to arrest him, but apparently he left the house. So I asked the homeowner to come look at the Ring camera to see what he done. So she said she was scared. She refused to look at it. So the cops looked at it, they went to arrest him, but he left. So after that, it was water and sprinklers. He wet my dogs, wet my cars, watering his yard. I asked him to remove his sprinklers. He wouldn't do it. So I called the cops. He had a warrant for his arrest. He got arrested. So it was like one thing leading to the next with this guy. He never stopped. It's been going like 2.5, 3 years. He's been arrested 3 times. So on the 23rd, I'm out taking out trash and walking my dog. He's at the top of the hill, not knowing my Ring cameras pick up way beyond where he was located. It got him making all kind of threats. He gonna beat my ass. I'm a F you. I'm gonna F you up. It's all recorded. You have the Ring. I downloaded it. I'm not this. I'm not that. Making all kind of threats. So I look at the guy. I say, okay, he just keep talking. Gonna go put his dog away and gonna just beat me down, and I'm nothing. It's just like one thing after the next one. He just like won't stop. And I have a special order. I had a TPO for 30 days on him. And a warrant. He got arrested. It was a 21W019279. He totally ignored it. He got arrested and got out on special orders to stay away from me. He had broken all rules that everybody has said from the county. So it's like it started here to just keep escalating. Now we're here. Now he's making threats. And I think that's a little bit too much for a grown man that's 57 years old to carry himself in that manner. I don't make threats against him. I don't talk to him. I've been here in my house for 23 years and never had an issue. So I'm just, here for the courts to make a great decision because this is getting to be a bit much. I got awarded $2,700 for magistrate court. I haven't received anything. So he's been doing little stuff on and on and on. Now it's threats. Now here we are making threats against me. And it's all documented, it's all recorded. So he can say what he wants, but that's why Ring don't lie. We lie. Ring don't. It's all on Ring. He just didn't quite understand the way Ring worked. But I think he will now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, I want to clearly state, I've already stated, folks, right? So, Mr. Lloyd?
Yes, Your Honor. Good evening. First off, I would like to say that what Mr. Parrish is saying is not true.
Oh my God, he's the house husband, you guys. Is he the house husband? I think this is the house husband TPO hearing. Once I heard his voice, I think that's what this is. I think that's what this is. Just give me one moment here, guys. I would love to see any Larrys that you have. I am putting the info up on the screen, but I believe this is the house husband TPO.
But I will stay specific to what he is alleging happened on the 23rd. Everything else that he has just said to you, Your Honor, has nothing to do with the 23rd. So from the 23rd, Your Honor, this is the second time that he has brought me to court for the exact same thing. On the 14th, pardon me, Your Honor, on the 13th of April this year, Mr. Parrish took out a TPO on me for the exact same day incident of the 23rd of February. Everything he's saying right now, we have already been to court for. It has been heard by the Superior Court judge on the 16th of April, Your Honor. I have turned in those the evidence for that. On that case, from that case, everything that happened on the 23rd, in which we are here today for, was dismissed by the judge. He had no standing then, Your Honor, and the court was it was heard. All the evidence he's saying he has, that he put out the ring camera, all that stuff was heard and seen by the judge, and the case was summarily dismissed, Your Honor. I would have my own ring evidence, Your Honor, but the recording was only kept for 60 days. After it happened, the incident happened on February 23rd. We went to court on April the 16th for the TPO for the exact same. Everything he's alleging today has already been heard. Okay, and so, Your Honor, unfortunately, I don't have my video proof to submit to the court because I thought this was over. Okay, this was over. I thought this was over after, and my recording only says for 60 days, Your Honor. So I don't have the video evidence, but I do have witnesses who have seen the video evidence, and that's what, if the court deems that something needs to be heard, even though the other court chose to dismiss it, Your Honor, then we can go ahead with that. But I just would like to reiterate, Your Honor, that this has already been heard. He has no probable cause or no credibility, Your Honor, to be having the same charges, the same day on the for everything he is alleging today has been heard in the TPO court, and that.
All right, Mr. I just want to confirm, Mr. Parrish, was there already a hearing or a police report or where they've either issued an arrest warrant or did?
He's been arrested 3 times. I have a TPO for 30 days. Then I try to go to court for a 90-day TPO.
That's not what I'm asking about. On this particular event.
No, sir. This is our first time. This is the first time.
So no
right
police have been called. Yes. Okay.
They got called and they gave
no arrest warrant on this for this matter.
Yes, only one today. Terrorist threat. This is the only one.
This is the first time for this.
Yes, sir.
Particular allegation. All right. So let me just tell you, Mr. Lloyd. Hold on. So, Mr. Lloyd, a TPO in and of itself is not a request for an arrest warrant. I understand in some situations it may have similar effects if there are special conditions, but that in and of itself is not the same. So wouldn't prevent him from pursuing the arrest warrant. Now, obviously, I remind people that all I can do is arrest you and you be released. So I always try to figure out what people's intent is when we still pursue these things when they have TPOs, but I digress. But that's not going to prevent us from being able to hear evidence about whether or not an actual crime was committed, specifically terroristic threats, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so we're going to proceed. So, Mr. Parrish, I'm going to ask you, do you want to introduce any any evidence that you've submitted, or do you want to call a witness?
Yes, all right. Evidence has been submitted already. I also have a witness. I want to call a witness as well.
What do you want the court to look at first?
The evidence submitted.
Okay, and what specifically?
There's some emails for Ring. There's some emails for the warrant number. And also I sent some stuff about a TPO in that he shouldn't even be around me. It's all been emailed to the clerk.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may?
Hope not yet, because this is an opportunity to introduce evidence. So this isn't.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I'll be patient.
All right, hold tight. All right, Mr. Parrish. I do have some videos. I also have some incidents. Now, let's start with the videos here because I think that would be most relevant in lieu of everything else that you have, because those don't. Bear with me while I pull this up.
No problem.
All right, hold on. Pause. Zoom. Share screen. All right, folks, can you see this?
Yes. Very well.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Let's see if I can. Is there any sound to this thing?
Yes, it is.
Because it seems as if there's no sound. I'll make sure that. I'm not so sure there's sound, but I'm going to play it. I don't hear anything.
Yeah, it's because it's got that little X there. You see that? That means it's muted. You have to click on that to make it not muted. But we've seen this shot. I analyzed it. Do you see what I'm talking about? Looking into their backyard over here? This, I remember distinctly thinking to myself, yeah, some stuff's gone down in my backyard.
There we go.
You gotta press the X.
The sound button should be to the left side of the bottom of your screen.
No, I'm hearing everything. Can you not hear this?
Okay, no, okay.
And sir, are you alleging that this is from the 23rd of February?
Yes, sir. That's when the cops came out and gave me a report for terroristic threat. The captain actually claimed out because she was tired of.
When you say he gave you a report, did he issue an arrest warrant or he just gave you a report?
They gave a report of it called domestic terroristic threats. A police report.
Okay.
And that's him doing all the talking and profanity and making threats. That's him.
All right, hold tight. All right, I've got a second video here.
Yes, you do.
All right, let's see. And your allegation, this is second videos from the same day?
Same day. That's me just taking my trash out, letting my dog out. That's me. That's him.
I can't quite make out what he's saying there, if he's even talking to you. But okay. Anything else?
That's it for us in the videos.
Okay, what else would you like us to look at? From this date of incident.
Yes, sir. That day.
Got years of stuff, but we ain't
I got a bunch of stuff. You do right, I do.
I heard you open it up.
Yeah.
We hear about the 20. I want to hear about
Yeah. So, I come out of my house, there's always threats. This time, he gonna beat my ass.
Hold on. You're testifying again. Not yet.
Okay.
So, do you want to have a witness?
Yes, I do.
If there's nothing else that you intend to introduce that will provide clarity on this date. All right.
Yeah, Miss Tate.
Clerk, can we have Miss Tate come in? Where's Miss Tate?
It's taking long. The same joining.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, what is going on? Come on, Judgy. Judge Davis.
It's Justine joining, Judge.
All right, we'll give it a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and a penalty and perjury of the law?
I do.
All right. You can put your hand down. I'm going to allow Mr. Parrish to ask you a couple of questions. Direct examination questions. So, Mr. Parrish, just be clear, these questions are not to be cross-examination questions. They're to be direct exam, open-ended questions, okay? And you can ask Ms. Tate some questions.
Barry, how many times have this guy taunted me, threatened me throughout the year?
Well, it's been several incidents, but specifically on that day, you had went out to take the trash out and let the dog out. And I was standing in the door waiting on you to come back because we always chat and talk in the morning. And I just heard all the screaming up the street, hollering up the street. And then I saw Mr. Lloyd threatening to kick your A, and he wanted to fight you and all this stuff. So I ran in the house and started I didn't want to go outside, so I ran in the house and started calling your phone to come in the house. And that was it. Next thing I know, the police was, out front and took him to jail. But this has been ongoing. It seems like, I don't know what it is. It seems like it's a trigger when he sees you for whatever reason. It's just not a good situation. And I just don't want anything, to boil up and, you go in there and get, it just turns bad. Let me just put it to you like that. So.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do you feel safe going in and out of the house, knowing he's out watching us every time we make a move and screaming and hollering like something's wrong with him?
No, normally I pull up real close to the door and just come directly in the house. I don't.
You feel like he's going to stop, or more threats and more actions going to be taken against me?
Well, a lot of times I just feel like it's getting worse. You know, from the incident with the pouring the urine on your boat to the getting the judgment for that.
I object,
And,
Your Honor.
you know, it just seems like it's just been, I can just see it getting progressively worse to now you're out in the street at 9:00 in the morning in front of the neighbors hollering and screaming about absolutely nothing.
Okay, man, Miss Parrish, I don't know what testimony. Obviously, you can cross-examine her, Mr. Lloyd, regarding that. So, objecting to what specifically?
To her speculating on what may or may not happen.
Okay, well then, but she's here. You can cross-examine her about that.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Just want to let you know she is here. There's no hearsay. She can, if she knows the details of those matters, she can testify. Now, if she don't, you have every right to cross-examine her and be like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so we'll give you the opportunity if that's applicable.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
So, Your Honor, I live here in the home, and
I get it, but listen, we're gonna do this the legal way.
Okay,
so
that's
that
what we're
means
trying to
that
do.
whatever question that Mr. Parrish has regarding this matter, and again, I want everybody to stay focused on February, that date of incident.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of other dates of incidents. That's not what I'm concerned about.
Okay.
Do I even make threats against anybody that'll talk to them?
I've never heard you make any threats or talk to anybody in that residence in any type of threatening manner.
Thank you. I'm good, Your Honor.
All right. Any cross-examination questions for Miss Tate, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Tate, were you outside on February 23rd at any time? Because I never saw you. I know you weren't outside, but I'm asking you, were you outside during the altercation?
I was in the garage, you know, as I said, when I said I was in the garage, and I saw you coming up the street, and I saw you coming down the driveway and getting in the street. I saw it all. Mm-hmm.
You said you saw me coming out the garage and going into the street?
Yeah, I saw you coming down the street yelling at him. I saw you go in the garage.
My question was,
I saw you come back out of the garage.
Mr. Lloyd, listen. Let her answer the question.
I was trying to make sure she understood my question, Your Honor.
Yeah, I understood it and I answered it.
Let's not go back and forth because I can see how this goes.
Your Honor.
Ask the question again. Ask the question again.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Is your testimony today that you saw me come back out the garage to the street?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. No more questions, Your Honor.
All right. Any redirect for Ms. Tate? Do you have any other questions for your witness, Mr. Parrish?
No, I don't. I'm good, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may follow up with one last question, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Ms. Tate, have you and I ever had any words? Have you ever spoke to me? Have I ever spoke to you? Has anything like that ever happened between you and I?
No, I don't even look your way.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Thank you very much, Your Honor. No more questions now.
All right. Again, any redirect, Mr. Parrish, for your witness?
No, I'm good.
All right. All right. Well, so you're clearly in the same house or property. So what I'm going to ask you to do, though, so that you don't somehow become a distraction, if you can, just wherever you were previously, you can go right on back in.
Okay.
And then, Ms. Tate, you can log off for me, okay? And you can watch via YouTube if you so choose. All right, Mr. Parrish, any other evidence or witnesses that you intend to introduce before?
That's it. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, Mr. Lloyd, I'm now going to tell you this is always what appears to be the fun part for some people. I'm going to let you cross-examine Mr. Parrish. Right? This will be your opportunity to ask him questions. Mr. Parrish, I'm not going to let y'all argue. So if you start arguing, I'm going to immediately tell you to stop. So, Mr. Lloyd, can you ask some cross-examination questions of Mr. Parrish?
I think, Your Honor, that I will withhold questions on cross-examining Mr. Parrish right now and just present my evidence and my witnesses.
Okay, so if you won't get another opportunity. So
okay, you're saying I won't get another opportunity?
No.
Okay, then if you're saying that, let me get myself together, Your Honor.
Okay.
Let me get myself together. I apologize.
No, you're good, buddy.
Okay. Mr. Parrish, prior to our relationship going south, would you consider us being friends prior to?
No.
Okay. And why? So, and have we ever gone out and having drinks?
We had met out and had a drink, but
have we ever gone out together?
No.
Have I ever gone to you over your family's house and had for celebrations?
I thought we were going to talk about terroristic threats.
I'm asking questions.
That's the case here, terroristic threats.
And Mr. Parrish, again, these are just light questions, and I will get him back focused. But if that's the case, it's a simple question.
Yeah, I mean, just because I have drinks with a lot of people, they don't make him my friend. I don't consider him my friend. No, I don't. I don't know him that well. He just moved here.
Okay. Prior to this, is your testimony today that you're saying that to the court under oath that me and you have never we weren't friends, that prior to us our relationship going south, that let me ask you this question. Did I used to come over to your house? We were next door neighbors, Your Honor, for the record. There is a foot and a half separating our property. Okay. So we are next door neighbors. And so are you so a question is, have you did I on a daily basis, almost on a daily basis, come over to your house for us drinking beers when you get off work?
No, let me explain something to you.
Is that yes
no,
or you're saying no? Okay.
Friends,
no further questions. Then,
friends don't throw pee on people's boats.
No
friends
further
don't
questions.
Make threats.
Okay.
Friends don't try to
further
argue
questions.
Fight. Friends don't do that.
Mr. Parrish, if their answer is no, then it's
no.
All right. Again, it's fine. Mr. Lloyd.
Work.
No, did he just say? Did he just say friends don't pee on friends' boats? Oh, we're gonna listen again. Listen very carefully, please. I believe that's what's said.
Is that yes or you're saying no? Okay. No further questions. Then,
friends don't throw pee on people's boats.
No
friends
further
don't
questions.
Make threats.
Okay.
Friends don't try to argue questions. Fight. Friends don't do that.
Mr. Parrish, if their answer is no, then it's
no.
All right. Again, it's fine. Mr. Lloyd, do you have any other questions for me?
Yes. On the date in question, did you invite me to come down to the street to come and fight you?
No.
Okay. Did you tell me that you was going to kick my ass?
No.
On that day, so your testimony to the judge is that did not happen.
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Mr. Parrish and Mr. Lloyd, and Mr. Lloyd, this is going to be your opportunity here to introduce any evidence that you have regarding your position.
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything in particular that you want to have me introduce before we get into any witness testimony, that's fine as well.
Yes, I would, Your Honor. I have submitted a few documents, Your Honor. Number one, I would like the court to observe and look at the TPO case number 23PO 3056.
Okay. I think I know.
Which the petitioners his statements to the court, Your Honor, especially in paragraph 3. Just want to show the court that this is the exact same things that he's saying today. Okay, that the court with the TPO has heard already. I just want to show the court so the court would see that this is a repeat for me. And what I consider harassment, and I would like the court to understand that I have a TPO hearing scheduled for tomorrow, Your Honor, against Mr. Parrish for him continually doing this, okay, for harassment, taking me to court because he considers this fun for him. I don't consider this.
Well,
this is not fun for me.
Hold on. We're now getting into testimony.
I apologize, Your Honor.
So I'm looking at this document, but I don't see where there's any description of the event. Give me 1 second here.
In paragraph 3, on page 10, you would see he says on or about February 23rd.
Hold on. We're gonna get there.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, here we go. Bear with me. All right, folks. Okay, I see that. I understand that they're the same allegations.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, and Your Honor, so I also want to go to show the court the filing for the judge's ruling on that case. If you could, you will see that it was dismissed. It was a hearing had and was dismissed. I just want the courts to be able to see that was done.
Okay.
And the last thing, Your Honor, is the statement from the police report on that day. Yes, I was arrested on that day, but not for this. Had nothing to do with no time. I have never had. I won't get into any testimony. I know it's not my time yet, but the police report on page, pardon me, in the narrative, I would just like the judge, Your Honor, for you to see on paragraph 4, with Officer Wembley, who took the report, and just see what he says at the end there, Your Honor. It's just his summation of what happened, of how he felt about the situation that day, Your Honor.
Hold on, let me see if I can locate that. Bear with me. Now, I don't see the report. Let's see.
It's the incident report, the narrative.
Yeah, I don't
from
see
the report.
The narrative of the incident report.
It was sent at a separate time, so it might not be in that same.
Yeah, I'm aware. I don't. Yeah, I don't see that here. Yeah, I don't have that. I do have the TPO, and I do see that it was subsequently dismissed.
But you don't have the Georgia report for the case number 23016274, the narrative from the police officer.
I don't believe so. No. Is that something that you sent, clerk? Do we have that?
I'm looking, Judge. I don't think so. Everything he sent, I forward over.
Let me just make sure, Your Honor. Yeah, I have this right here. Yes, it's I sent it at Pardon me, that's my witnesses. Hold on. Evidence. Yes, I sent this one at 7:51, and it went through.
Tonight?
Yes, 7:51 today, this evening. Yes, Your Honor. So it was an hour ago.
Just sent to the judge, the clerk. It went to another clerk, so I just forwarded it to you.
Okay, no worries. Okay. Hold on for 1 second, sir.
Okay, that's it.
All right, I'm just waiting to pull it up. Hold on.
Okay.
I got it. Hold on. All right, folks.
Those are just my little numbers and stuff on the sides, Your Honor.
Okay, so what do you want the court?
What I just wanted, what I really wanted the court to see was just to see what the paragraph 4 on the officer's assessment of the situation, Your Honor.
Okay.
And from that, Your Honor, that would be all the evidence that I have to present. And now I would just go ahead and at your direction present my witnesses.
I have questions for you.
Oh, well, we'll get there, Mr. Perry. Hold tight. We get there. Mr. Lloyd, who would you like to introduce?
I would like to introduce Cheryl Lloyd, please.
Okay. All right, where is Miss Lloyd? Can you unmute yourself? Ms. Lloyd, can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute yourself? Miss Lloyd, where did she go?
Do you want me to go find her, Your Honor?
Well, let me just, Miss Lloyd.
Oh,
Miss Lloyd?
She's upstairs. She said, here she comes. She must have went to the restroom. She's coming to the phone.
No worries.
Where I was sitting, I didn't want to be able to hear what was.
No, I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to get you under oath. Can you raise your right hand? You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, under penalty and perjury of the law?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Lloyd, this is your client. Direct examination. Open any questions.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Miss Lloyd, on the morning of February 23rd, the date of this incident, were you present at the time?
I was here at home, yes.
All right. Did you witness the incident?
No.
Okay. Did you see the incident?
Yes.
And how did you do that?
On the ring.
On whose ring?
Our ring.
Okay. And can you describe to the court what you saw?
Yes. That morning you went out with the dog. Going to the left of the house. Mark lives on the right, so you were going to the left, walking towards the hill, and you noticed that the garbage truck was there, and you hadn't taken the garbage, so you came back to the house. You had the dog. You came and put the dog up through the garage, and then you came back out with the cans and took them to the curb. And then you came back to get the dog to finish walking him, and then I guess you got out of vision. Then next thing, it popped up that you and Mark were arguing back and forth, calling each other names. Mark said he'd beat your ass. You said you would beat his. Mark was like, come on then. So you were like, okay. And then you start walking back up the driveway. He said, yeah, go ahead and put the dog up. And you said, okay, here I come. And then you came back through, out the garage, and maybe a third of the way, of the driveway, you just turned back around and came in the house.
Okay. Well, Miss Tate, Mr. Parrish's girlfriend, she has testified here today. And let me ask you a question. Did you ever see her outside that day?
No.
Okay. Did you, when I from the video of what you saw, when I came back in the garage, okay, and did I ever leave back out the garage once I came back in with the dog?
No.
So you're saying that after I came, and we make sure it's clear for the court, that after I walked the dog and me and Mr. Parrish were arguing, and he was telling me to come on. You're saying I never went back outside. I mean, I never went back out there to them.
No, you never went to him. You just went down not even a third of the way of the driveway, and then went back in the garage.
Okay. All right.
Anything
one
else?
moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
You did okay. Can you tell the court approximately how many times the police have been called to our home?
Maybe about maybe 8 to 10 times, if not more. I don't know.
And can you give the court some examples of what they were called to the house for?
And listen, and I'll be honest with you, Mr. Lloyd, respectfully.
Yes, Your Honor.
Short on time here, so I just
okay. I apologize. I'll move on, Your Honor. So as far as the 23rd, then, Mr. Lloyd, all right. How would you characterize the behavior of Mr. Parrish from the video that you saw? Excuse me.
Right. He was talking smack back to you. Both of y'all was talking smack to each other. Like you guys always, I mean, not always, but when you guys do get into an argument, you guys are going back and forth with each other.
Okay. Just a couple, 2 more quick questions, Your Honor. How would you characterize, prior to me and Mr. Parrish falling out, how would you characterize our relationship?
As friends? I mean, you guys, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, friends, because you guys talk just about every day. Went and had cocktails, y'all would drink beers, and he'd come over to our house. You go over there. We've gone to his family's house, and you guys were friends. I thought that's what it seemed to me.
Okay. All right. And I think that'd be all right, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Mr. Parrish, do you have any questions for Ms. Lloyd? You're still on mute.
All right. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Cheryl, are you aware that your husband had a warrant, a special bond warrant, a 21W019279?
Was I aware that he had one?
A special bond order.
when he got picked up.
You know what I'm saying? Are you aware of this? And he got released. He had to sign a bond to what? Stay away from me. Do not talk to me. Do not come around my house. Are you aware of that? He had to sign it to get out. And this has been emailed to the court. For him for his release from jail, the court, they have it. Are you aware of that?
That he was not supposed to say anything to
He
you?
got a special bond condition. Are you aware of that?
No.
So but he signed it though. You picked him up.
And ask and answer.
I got it. Mr. Parrish, I just want to be clear. If she wasn't there and she says she don't know, she don't know.
In order for him to get released from prison.
Jail, let's be clear.
Yeah, jail. He had to sign this special bond condition to get out.
Then let me be clear. That does not mean that she knows. But
all right, okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I do those hearings every day. So that doesn't mean she knows, but continue with your question.
Are you aware, Cheryl, that we went to court, magistrate court for urine on my boat? I got awarded by magistrate court for a payment. This how it all started.
Well,
he got caught on lean.
On the 23rd?
Hold on, wait. Mr. Parrish, as I mentioned to you before, there are a whole lot of other incidents that you guys have talked about, but I'm in February, and that's what she's primarily commented on, not these other ones. So if you either want to ask about y'all's prior friendship or this event that occurred or anything else you want about that, feel free to question her on those matters.
Well, let me be clear. He never was my friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there, but feel free to ask the questions.
Yeah, I'm done with asking questions, her.
You don't have any other questions, Mr. Lloyd? Do you have any redirect?
Sir?
No, Your Honor, no redirect.
All right. Do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor. I don't think it's. I don't need to pull my mother-in-law into this, and I think we're good. We're good, Your Honor.
Excellent. So what we're going to do then is I'm going to, Mr. Parrish, I'm going to give you an opportunity to cross-examine Mr. Lloyd shortly. Miss Lloyd, you're free to go. You can go ahead and log off if you want to watch on YouTube. That is up to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Parrish, you're going to ask Mr. Lloyd cross-examination questions.
Lloyd, did you come outside and make threats to me on the day of the 23rd? Did you
make
any threats?
After you threatened me, then yes, I did. That is correct.
Your Honor, it's on the video. You can clearly hear it's only him making threats. I didn't make not the first threat. That's why I bet that ring is the best thing ever. Because you know what, in court, we say anything. But that ring video...
Mr. Parrish, I don't need you to tell me.
Okay,
I do this all the time.
All right, no problem. Are you aware of your special bond release, Mr. Lloyd?
Yes, I am.
All right. So why were you making threats at me?
Because you threatened me. The whole point of the special order is for us to not say nothing to either one of us. You don't have the right just because I went to jail then to antagonize and say things to me.
And
you don't have that right.
So
and then go running to the court and then go running to the court acting like you're
hold on, Mr. Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd, you don't have to do all that. Listen, I can see, I do this every day.
Yes, Your Honor.
Y'all don't have to argue about what I can hear and see.
Yes, Your Honor.
And consider.
Yes, Your Honor.
It just irritates me when y'all do that. Because y'all can be able to have this conversation. Y'all intelligent men. Y'all can do this. So ask him another question, Mr. Parrish.
I'm done, Your Honor.
You sure you done? And I'm not making you ask
No, let me ask you. I got a few more questions. I got a few more.
All right, I'm not trying to rush you, but I want.
Did you say you want to beat my ass, Lord?
I responded in kind to what you were saying to me. That's my answer to you.
Okay. I'm done, Your Honor.
Okay. Do we have anything else, Mr. Lloyd?
No, sir. I'm done.
Mr. Lloyd, do you have anything else?
Well, I haven't really I haven't testified though, have I? He cross-examined me. I haven't really said anything though, have I?
You got to say your opening. You're about to say your closing.
Okay. Yeah. All right, then, Your Honor. Well, then, does he go with his closing first, or do I go with my closing first?
No, he's gonna go first.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Parrish, what I would like you to do, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to tell me why an arrest warrant should be issued against Mr. Lloyd.
Well, I think arrest warrant would be the right thing to do He made terroristic threats. He threatened to beat my ass. He called me all out of my name. He went in the house. He came back out of the house. I don't know if he had a weapon or not. Then he's trying to turn this thing into something that's not. I have never made a threat against him. Never will. I don't do threats. It's always been him. Day after day, he's been arrested like 3 times. It's like it won't stop with this guy. He got a special order bond. He gets out, do the same thing. Now, on the 23rd, he go to threats. It don't make any sense for a man to be 57 years old to carry himself like a child. He's a grown man. He's older than me. But day in and day out, here come the threats. Here come out the garage, saying all kind of stuff. The 23rd just took it over the top. About what is he going to do to me, how he's going to beat me, and what he's going to do. I don't do those kind of things. So I think an arrest warrant will be needed for this guy. He has been arrested on several occasions. He gets out and do the same old thing. I don't get it. I don't understand what's his problem. Thank you.
Yes, Lord.
Yes, Your Honor. This situation with Mr. Parrish, Your Honor, I have, I don't really understand what his logic is saying we weren't friends, because we were. You know what I'm saying? But I don't understand why he wants to front like that at this point. But that's neither here nor there. We were friends, okay? I did not initiate anything with him, Your Honor. I have not been arrested no time because of any situation with him. I will repeat that, Your Honor. He can't tell you not one incident, okay, on which I have been arrested because then where is it? Where's the proof? But there is no record. If there was, Your Honor, he would have presented it. Okay, Mr. Parrish has been making these accusations towards. In the TPO, he said I tried to run him off the road in my car. All these types of things. He just puts anything in there, Your Honor. He thinks that you. I won't say you. He thinks that the court does. He thinks he's smarter than the court, Your Honor. Like you have already told us, this is what you do. You do this day in, day out, Your Honor. This is your job to determine who is telling the truth and who is not. Okay, and so I know. Okay, if all the things that I'm being accused of by Mr. Parrish had happened, I would have been in jail because of him. I've never been in jail before, but no time in my life until incidents started going on with Mr. Parrish. The very first time Mr. Parrish has called the police over here, Your Honor, for my wife's vehicle being parked on the street, legally on the street, and he calls the police to have them tow my wife's van. Twice he's calling for that. He called the police and I'm just saying this to you, Your Honor, just to show you the pattern of what he does. And there's nothing going on, that there's nothing in return saying that Mr. Lloyd did this and he's guilty of that, and that's why this happened. Okay, there's been nothing but accusations, false accusations, and that's why nothing that he has charged me with has stuck, and I have been not found guilty of anything. There is zero court record on any court finding with me and Mr. Parrish. No finding that I was found guilty of anything, Your Honor. And I would just ask that there is no probable cause for Mr. Parrish to be for him to be awarded this, that he has no credibility, Your Honor, because this case has already been heard. And so I ask respectfully, Your Honor, that the case be dismissed, and so I can go on with my life, and he can go on with his. I haven't said nothing to him. He don't say nothing to me.
Lloyd.
Thank you very much.
Please. Thank you. All right. So let me first say, obviously, we're dealing with terroristic threats. We're dealing with threats, a misdemeanor source of terroristic threats that usually need to be supported by some other testimony in order to be there. Mr. Parrish, you've introduced evidence as far as video is concerned with Mr. Lloyd yelling. However, the evidence also shows that there has to be some type of yelling back because you guys are going back and forth. Because I can overhear you saying something. He says, I don't want to kill you. And obviously you've said something because I can hear it in the background. You guys are yelling at each other, right? Moreover, I just want to say, I'm not sure what's going on. Court wants to make this observation. You literally are the second neighbors that I've had that come before this court in the last 2 weeks, essentially alleging the same things, that y'all just can't seem to be getting along because people's cars are parked certain places and people don't like what y'all doing going on people's yards. And it ends up being all types of issues that come about. Police are called, guns are drawn, people fighting. I literally hear this all the time. And what I want to make sure that's clear is that Mr. Parrish, if I arrest Mr. Lloyd, he's still going to be your neighbor tomorrow. Do you understand what I just said? If I arrest Mr. Lloyd, he's still going to be your neighbor tomorrow. If I was to arrest you, Mr. Parrish, Mr. Lloyd still be your neighbor tomorrow. And Mr. Parrish be your neighbor tomorrow. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there's nothing that I can do today, or nothing that I would be able to do tomorrow to stop Mr. Lloyd from being your neighbor. And Mr. Parrish, there's nothing that I can do today, right, to stop vice versa. Y'all gonna be each other's neighbors. And so it's interesting to me to hear about how there's not one blow made, nobody's thrown a punch, not one grown man has seemed to have done anything like that. But we've got some terroristic threats. What I also want to be clear is that when I watch this video, Mr. Parrish, I don't even see you guys within the same view in the video. That's what the court acknowledges as well, is that as he's yelling, you're walking away. I don't see how anybody claims that there's any threat when everybody's walking away. Now, what the court's going to do, because I am very concerned about this event, but based upon the evidence that's been provided, furthermore, with the testimony, we have an ongoing dispute between neighbors and where people are basically yelling obscenities at one another. Now, Mr. Parrish, I can't say that you directly yell obscenities, but I did hear you go back and forth with Mr. Lloyd. And as a result, that's why I'm not going to issue the arrest warrant, because what we have is effectively a dispute between parties. I don't necessarily have a terroristic threats between parties. And so I'm going to make that ruling. But folks, I just want to be clear. You're going to be neighbors. You may end up making another arrest warrant against Mr. Lloyd, and you, Mr. Lloyd, you may make another arrest warrant against Mr. Parrish. And obviously, the court is very interested in maintaining the peace and safety of those around each other. Now, we're already aware that you guys have had issues. There have been plenty of arrest warrants issued. And I'm not sure whether or not that stay-away order that you had, Mr. Parrish, is still intact, because I understand that the TPO that was initially there has been dismissed. But if y'all going to continue to do this, yes, someone's going to get arrested. But I remind you, he's still going to be your neighbor tomorrow. Now, whether or not y'all do something different, whether or not he goes to jail for an extended period of time, that's one thing, either one of you. But just recall, y'all still going to be each other's neighbors the next day. Y'all do with that with what you will, but I won't be issuing an arrest warrant this evening, and you guys will get a copy of my order, and you're free to go.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. You have a good evening.
You too.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Honor. I do appreciate that. Guys, please hang on 1 second. I have something very important to show you in regards to Larry Beaver, Larry Business Beaver. We have something to talk about. Will just give me a moment here. I will pull them up. What did you think about that? The judge seemed a little done with their attitudes, if you will. Okay, give me 1 second because I'm opening up another window. And in that window, there's more Larrys for us to see and laugh at together. It's Larry the Beaver. Larry the Beaver. Okay. We can just save that quickly. Oh, yes, this one's very good too. This is not Larry, but this is another of I I don't know who this would be. Let's find. Who do you guys think this is? I think it might be from Georgia, but it's definitely not who you think. We have. Maybe that is Larry. I don't even know. Okay. And then retrial. Let's find Pizza Slut Larry. Yes. Yes. Oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah. Pizza Slut Larry. Pizza Slut Larry coming up. There's Pizza Slut Larry. I really like that too. Business beef. You just scooch over here for a sec. We got retrial. Yes. Very good. Okay. We also have another one here. Well, this one is, I think, an ode to Judge Kimmy Kim. We'll call him Kimmy Beaver. And that is Kimmy Beaver right here. So, folks, this is a reminder. It takes you to create Larry Beavers and send them to my email address so that I can display them with pride. These hands and Steve Rosen, thank you so much, both of you. Your talents are unmatchable. And I can't wait to see more and more and more. I will keep all of these and I will use them for many different reasons. Kimmy Beaver, yeah, like so many for so many different reasons. Um, I can think of just many, many more. I will take them all, just so you guys are aware. I would like to see a pizza Larry from each chain one day. Um, that would be great for me, right? Yeah, I love you guys so much. He does look a bit happy to be Judge Kim, I'm seeing here, but Judge Kimmy Kim, like it is just, I like that is that's Kimmy Beaver right there. Kimmy Beaver. And the funny thing is now all of these are in my Streamlabs as like sources and they're all named things. So I have like Kimmy Beaver, Pizza Slut Larry. For some reason, Business Larry's called Flute Beaver. I don't know why. It was something else. Then I also, yeah, Plaid would be good. Then this guy's just Beaver. That's just Beaver. But these are all on my like dashboard of like, and what did he come in as? Oh, pretrial Beaver. I also have this, our I Want to Believe poster, a la Mr. Nava. These are for the diehards, guys. We're coming up to 1.5K very quickly here. 1.5K subs. You guys are all still such OGs, and I love you all so much. Because Larry Beaver, like seriously, guys, this is This is what we're here for. These are, look at his little hands. Look at Larry's little hands. I don't know. I just clicked on whatever one was first. It accepts any sources. It's pretty good for that. It just lets me do any sources. So, um, I do like, oh, my video is suitable for all advertisers. Interesting. They did manually review it. Not the one I'm talking about, but this one. From Saturday night. Look at that, guys. That's so exciting. Anyways, listen, I had a wonderful evening with you all. I am still here. Larry, Kimmy. Larry and Kimmy. Can I come out? I appreciate you guys so much. I loved having you here. I want to see more beaver pictures. I'm just going to leave that one as is. These are the glory days. And one day we'll be what? You'll all still be in the 1K/1.5K club. It is good night, unfortunately, for me, because I have to clean my sister's house before she comes back tomorrow, like properly. So I apologize. Oh, yes, we need to make a beaver lodge. Oh, please do that. But can we make it? It should be a Bucky's, right? Is a Bucky's a beaver lodge? I think it is. Somebody want to get me sponsored by Bucky's? That'd be cool. Even though I've never been there. Anyways, guys, I know, but I promise you there'll be great things coming up this week, including some members only stuff that I'm going to be putting together and some fun collab stuff with lots of things. So I love you all very much. I want you to remember that you are special just for being you. And there's only one you like you. And I like you just for you. So I love you. I'll talk to you later. Have a wonderful evening. Please make sure you've clocked in and out, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.